Hello, everybody. We welcome back. We welcome back. We welcome you back.
We welcome y'all.
back.
We welcome you
welcome back
to the Church of Scientology.
Welcome back,
Mariska
Kato.
Hargitay.
Mariska Hargitay. I love that fucking movie. I don't care.
I know, it's so good.
Like, people shit on Justin Timberlake, but his Love Guru performance when he's like, I'm going to punch you in the shirt. Just like, it's just stupid shit like that. And then it is a little weird because you see, we just watched, what was the movie we just reviewed with Justin Timberlake? The Benicio del Toro movie.
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong, he I suppose...
Reptile, I think it was called.
Yes. Yeah, he still looks better than probably, 90% of your average, like, dad, husband. But it is weird seeing Justin Timberlake in his 40s, a little bit puffy face. Like, and it partly was the role he was in. He was supposed to be kind of a not-so-flashy-looking guy. But, because even when you don't think about him from NSYNC, you think about some of the movies he's done, which is everything from, like I said, Alpha Dog to Love Guru. You know what I mean? So it's like, I just think about him as the Canadian in Love Guru every fucking time. Hello, Jen. How are you doing, dear? We are here to review 3 things, technically. Dredd, Judge Dredd, and we will do Judge Dredd first. Dredd, the remake, which I do love both of these movies, but it's hard to put any movie really against the Dredd remake in the action sphere. Because it's just such a fucking great movie. And then we'll be doing episode 4 of Shogun. And I'm going to be honest with you, Giovanni and I talked about this. Alex was taking a piss, I think. I think we're going to have to spoil things. I think these will be spoiler-filled reviews from here on out. It's going to get to the point where I have a feeling episodes won't have a whole lot to talk about if we don't spoil shit. Because very much like Game of Thrones, in specifically episode 3 and episode 4... it's mainly like, yes, we'll go into the other stuff, but there's a lot of politics. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, within the politics, we're going to be forced to spoil shit. So just understand that we are reviewing episode 4 of Shogun, and we will be spoiling shit. I also want to double check and make sure we talk about this. The 19th, once again, we'll be doing season 1 of Fallout on Amazon Prime. The entire first season. If you would like to sign up to be a panelist, hit us up in the Discord. We're going to have no camera needed, just a microphone. We'll be having panelists reviewing the show, as well as Giovanni, Alex, and I will be there as well. It will be a live episode that is Friday the 19th. The next day is Jen's mother's party. Her goofy sister would be the one to schedule her mother's birthday party on 4/20. I kind of want to put her head through a fucking wall for that, to be honest with you. But that's because
my mother-in-law's birthday party is tomorrow.
Oh, you put her head through a wall just for saying, happy birthday.
No, I like my mother-in-law.
I do. I don't dislike mine. I mean, I just, I don't. There's just headaches and annoyances, and not a big fan of her sister, my sister-in-law. She's not a big fan of me, so it's mutual. At least it's not just like I go to family functions and I'm like, you fucking. Like, she doesn't like me either. So that's all, it's copacetic in that way, right?
At least it's mutual. Yeah, it's a mutual hatred.
Yeah, it's not a one way. Like, it's just kind of, like, just stay out of my way or I'll fucking destroy you. Because she's, she's a small little 5'4" girl. I'll just fucking wreck her. Like, stay out of the way. I'm done. What is this link? Oh, the Discord link. I thought Alex was posting porn links in the chat.
Yep.
That is Alex's OnlyFans. Bearded White Cilantro is his username.
Only beards.
The Golden Jalapeno. He got sued from Jeff Dunham. That was his first one. What have you guys been watching other than the content we've had to watch? I know, Alex, would you like to talk about some? Mrs. Nerditude does not have mod rights on the YouTubes. I gotta look into that, to be honest with you.
Wait, what?
I'm pretty sure I'm the only one that has mod rights on YouTube right now. So
that's weird.
We'll deal with that.
I think
later.
I do because it's got a wrench on my name. Yeah.
Now really isn't the time to discuss this, so we'll talk about this later. We're doing a fucking show. I don't know if
what a way to pick it up.
If everybody's fucking aware, but we're trying to do a live show. Let's just get on the same plate. This is a live show indeed. I will figure it out, Jennifer.
Along with catching up with my TV shows, I actually watched half of Poor Things and I have a feeling you're
Ooh.
not gonna like it.
I probably won't.
I have a feeling,
Is
yeah.
that a TV show?
No, it's
Emma
a movie
Stone.
with Emma Stone in it and Mark what's his name, Ruffalo.
Mark Ruffalo, yeah.
Okay. And then Willem Dafoe. Just so far, those are the only 3 big names that I've seen in there that I recognize.
And it's like what now? Why? Don't tell me what it is, but why wouldn't I like it?
The dialogue and kind of like how they keep going back and forth with the cameras, and
It's not as bad as what was that movie where it's
nudity,
just fucking Bill Skarsgård's face for 5 minutes at a fucking
no,
time?
it's not that bad. It's just certain camera angles that they choose to do at certain times. But also because of all the nudity and all the sex that they have through pretty much like
I mean, here's the thing:
45% of the half the movie I've watched.
But it depends on what the movie. Like if that's the movie, then that's a different story. Like I know that going into it. What I don't like, for one thing, we've discussed this. I don't like 70s horror because every 70s or a lot of 70s horror amplified the sexuality, and also a lot of those had mainstream stories of like she was raped by 6 men in the woods, now she's gonna hunt them all. And sure, the concept's okay, but I don't like those types of scenes. And in horror movies nowadays, honestly, I don't have the patience for it. Like I know what's her face, Lewis loves what's her name,
X.
the freaky, yeah, X, but what the actress in it, the newest scream queen, Mia Goth. By the way, the last movie we watched with her, that Skarsgård movie, was the only movie that I've ever found her attractive in any way, shape, or form. But it's just this idea that, like, can you do a movie where your tits aren't out? Like
I can.
that, maybe you can. Mia Goth can't figure it out. And honestly, dude, I'm not gonna be a fan of some chick who only does fucking movies with her tits out. That's not my style of movie. I'm a Terrifier guy. I don't need that bullshit. I want sadistic violence and scary situations. Now, nothing scares me, but I want it to at least try.
Naked women upside down being cut in half, yeah.
I'm into that. I mean, well, the beauty of that shot is it's clearly a dummy. That's what makes it the best. Like, it's clearly fake, for me at least.
In any movie where a human being gets split in half, either way, it's like my favorite.
I mean, one of my
great.
favorite scenes of humans split in half is vampires. When he's like, I'm gonna go get more fucking beer. And the vampires are like, flip, flip. And he's just like, hey, I feel funny. And then fucking, like, I love those scenes. Slither had a really good one too.
Yeah.
When he whips
Slither
him with the
had a
tentacle.
really good one.
But yeah, dude, like, I'm not 12 anymore. That shit doesn't appeal to me. Like, I'm beyond it, I guess, to where at this point it just slows the movie down for me. Like, what can anyone tell me what a sex scene in any movie, or a horror movie at least at this point, where it drives the story, where it ever drove the story? If it's not if it's not sexual assault that sets up a revenge movie, what point does a sex scene have in a horror movie besides like, we know you like blood, here's some tits?
It teaches the youth not to have sex before marriage, otherwise they're going to be killed by some murderer.
No, it teaches them why use a condom, because we're all going to die anyways. That's what it teaches them. Go full bore if it's your last time, kiddos.
I agree. If the movie is about sex or the sex plays a role,
which that
like
one
revenge
with,
or
what was the movie we did with the Infinity Pool?
Yeah,
yes.
The Infinity Pool. I mean, I knew what it was going into it. Like, it wasn't like I was watching a movie and going, Mia Goth is naked again? What in the fuck? Like, I knew what it was going to be. So, like, that one didn't bother me as much. But I will say, it bores the shit out of me when it's 5 minutes of some weird... And it wasn't even just the fact that it's a 5-minute long orgy scene, but it's weird colors, and it's supposed to symbolize they're on drugs. But I'm not on fucking acid, so I'm looking at it like... Am I colorblind? No, the director's eye is colorblind. This looks like shit. The scene is stupid. It reminded me of watching, on the cable box when you'd flip back and forth between Spice and a normal channel, and every now and then you'd catch a moan or a tit. That's what that scene reminded me of. And I was like, get the fuck out of here. Those are old school cable boxes, by the way. That's what I'm referencing. There is no more. Nowadays, it's like, go to menu, what's on, 7,800 channels of nothing you want to watch.
It's true. It's absolutely true.
I have been watching Big Bang Theory with the wife. I do not dislike the show. It's just clearly they're all autistic. or Asperger's.
It's a good show. I enjoy. It's one of my favorite like sitcom shows, I guess you could say.
It's
That's
a
what it
sitcom.
is.
Well, it's the
What
same
I
pattern
don't.
as all Chuck Lorre shows. There's slightly offensive humor, decently witty comedy written in there. Same thing as like How I Met Your Mother,
Yeah.
Friends. Same sort of concept.
The only
Two and a Half
the only
Men.
thing I don't
Yep.
like about Big Bang Theory is I'm a nerd. I've always been a nerd growing up. I'm an anime nerd, so I'm like nerd. Like I don't like that it hyper portrays the nerdism, if you will, like unrealistically hyper portrays
Well,
nerdism.
here's how much of a nerd I am. They have their Halo night, and at one point the guy's like, "Give me a med pack." No med packs in Halo. Not even in Halo 3. It didn't exist. You got an overshield. You could pick up one of those. Couldn't pick up a med pack in Halo. So like I was watching that episode going, they talk about how they have fucking scientists literally writing these equations they're writing. You couldn't get somebody that actually fucking played Halo? Like I'm just saying. Like if you're going to be nerdy and you're going to go all in, that sort of shit makes me go poser.
Also, the audio of the game changes for multiple games that they play later on too.
Well, it also it shows all four of those actors are posers because not a single one of them in that scene was like, no, dude, I've actually played Halo. That's not how it is. Like, so it's like the actors are posers, the writing is posing.
Do you think that they had some kind of like they could only say the name, they couldn't do anything else about it? Like they couldn't.
Well, no, but it's just the idea of like there is no healing mechanic in Halo besides an overshield, so no actual Halo player would ever be like, I need a med pack. That is a Call of Duty term. Mm-hmm. So to me, that is somebody who wrote a line of dialogue and looked up these games as opposed to having real experience with them. And once again, it's not a bad show, but things like that, if you're going to go full nerd, and the whole show is about how nerdy these people are, don't fuck up. Like, that's a simple thing not to fuck up. You could have legitimately talked to probably an intern at the TBS studio lot or whatever network they were on at the time and been like, you play games, right? And the kid's like, yeah, I play Halo. Okay, tell me about Halo. Like, you didn't even have that. Like, that sort of shit annoys me. And I know that's fickle. And still, we're in the first season, too. And I understand. I am a very firm believer in first season growing pains, where a lot of amazing shows are going to have good first seasons, but then slow spots or not so great spots, like The Office. Breaking Bad, as good as that first season is the worst season of the show.
That's yeah.
You know what I mean? So like I would understand if somebody watched Breaking Bad and they were like, that was cool, but like I don't know if I liked it, because they have no idea what's to come. And what's to come is so much better than what we already watched if you're just in the first season. And a lot of shows I think are like that.
The same as Game of Thrones. The first season was a chore to get through.
Well, I will say I watched it. Jen and I, she had never watched it. She didn't jump on the bandwagon when it was live on TV. So when we rewatched it, the first season, yes, has a lot of episodes of just like, come on, get to the death. But it does deliver pretty well on like battles and stuff that are.
It does, yeah.
A lot like this Shogun. Shogun is a political drama, but it's got some pretty wicked action in it. All right.
Yeah, the climax points are pretty damn good.
Have you guys been watching anything other than what we're reviewing tonight?
I watched a movie called Unthinkable, and it was unthinkable to watch this movie called
Sam Jackson and Carrie Ann Moss. Oh God.
Yeah. The ending was stupid. The whole premise of the story, I was like, okay, this is interesting. And then it goes like it gets dumber. Like you're like, okay,
what's awesome. It's awesome up to the part where he gets arrested and then his guy comes in and he's like, he's not a killer, he's a target. And it's Bill Dotrey from fucking King of the Hill.
It was weird, man.
And then they leave, and then right after that scene, the movie just gets fundamentally worse.
Yeah, I was so frustrated with that. But I don't like starting things and not finishing them. So I watched it all the way to the end.
Yeah, very few movies do I abandon. I don't like doing that either. But there are some where I've been like, yeah, but instead of abandoning them, I do my Matt's way of watching movies where it's like, skip a minute.
Fast forward.
What's going on? Okay, skip a minute. What's going on? Okay, skip 5 minutes. What's going on? Nothing still. Okay, 10 minutes we go. And that's how I fucking do it.
I'm watching an anime called Pluto on Netflix. Each episode, I'm not gonna lie, it's I think 10 episodes. Each episode is like 50 to 60 minutes. However, if you grew up watching the cartoon Mega Man or Astro Boy, this is right up your alley. It's fucking
Interesting.
great.
Along
It
those
makes me
lines,
want them to redo those shows.
apparently a Mario sequel's in the works. Nintendo let that out, that the sequel for that's in the works. Have you guys watched the Crow trailer?
Yes.
I did. I did.
I don't know how I feel about it. I don't like his look. I mean, I will give
I
it
don't
to.
like-
I'm going to give it up to Skarsgård. He is fucking jacked.
There's a lot
yeah,
more
he looks
color in
good.
the movie
He
too.
looks good.
He is
in
in
this movie.
great fuck. He's jacked, dude. So he fits the physical role. The violence looks pretty nice. I think the scene at the end of the trailer where he shoots himself twice and then they show him pulling the sword out.
Yeah.
That looks really cool. I'm a little concerned about the movie being too much of the before. Because he's even talked about how in this one there's more of their relationship in it and everything like that. And like I don't necessarily mind that, but I don't want an hour to be dedicated to that and 45 minutes being dedicated to the revenge. Like the Crow, the Crow
They're
is
only
a
gonna do 20 minutes.
Yeah, right, exactly, exactly. Like that's my concern.
It's not gonna be 40 minutes. Don't worry about it.
It also doesn't seem to have anything to do with Detroit either. I don't think it's set in Detroit. I think it's where okay, I guess my biggest problem is it looks to me like they went, hey, you know John Wick? And the people are like, yeah. And they're like, we're going to turn the Crow into John Wick. Which I think you can maybe do, except some acid punk looking crusty off the street doesn't strike me as like, oh yeah, no, he's definitely a badass martial artist. What, he sings in a puss rock band? Total martial artist. At least Brandon Lee had legit, like he was a martial artist.
Mm-hmm.
He was Bruce Lee's fucking kid. He was trained. And I think that I have a little bit of a problem with that. They're also definitely going for a different vibe. This is almost like, hey, you know the Crow, we're going to make it cyberpunk. It's a little bit of that sort of vibe.
It is a little cyberpunky. Yeah, it is. And it's crazy that it follows that concept. Because when I think cyberpunk, it's not just the grunge punk aspect. You need the technology aspect to it too.
Yeah, and that's
this
what
is missing
yeah.
that portion.
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing about cyberpunk is a lot of things emulated, you know, neon lights, neon cities. But if you don't have people walking around with, you know, biomarkers in their face for upgraded eyeballs and shit, it's not truly cyberpunk. Yeah,
It looked kind of like it was going to be like Fallout without the technology or with
yeah.
What's the other one?
So do you not like the color scheme either, Alex? Because I don't think I'm a big fan. I kind of miss the dark.
It was too bright. Yeah.
Yeah, like, you know, like maybe there can be a scene of you're in a nightclub hunting one of them down, but like, it should be in the alleys. You should be stalking these guys from the fucking rooftop. Like, give me a scene where it's you pitched up on a rooftop, and to get down below, he jumps off the building like Brandon. You know what I mean? Like,
or if they are going to do the colors that way, make it to where it's his memory when he was a happier time, and he was full of life like that, so the color makes sense. But when he's the Crow, why make it like that?
See, and for me, like, I don't want to see more of the backstory. Like, I think the original captured, you were fully in line with these people, loved each other, and they were both taken away from each other far too soon. And that's if you guys aren't familiar, if you've never watched The Crow is essentially, it's not revenge that's what drives him, it's love. And they even say it in the new trailer, and the concept is, you know, she was raped and murdered, he was thrown out the window and murdered as well. He's brought back from the dead essentially to kill everyone who was involved. And in that regard, I think the movie's violence is going to be good. I, in fact, probably will say the action scenes are going to be better done than The Crow. Because even The Crow was a good movie, fight scenes and action scenes like that, besides the big shootout scene where he actually was really shot in, there's not a whole lot. Like, you have the interrogation at the pawn shop. You have him taking out the black guy with the dreads and the knives. You have him launching Fire It Up off the pier. Then you have the overdose. So those were all very cerebral. Like, he killed them in their own personal way. Like something that like was meant, you know, was attached to that character, whether it be the drug use or hit the guy's car.
Also healed somebody with in their way with the drugs.
He sobered up the. So like, that is a little where it loses me, where it becomes for me it becomes less personal of a revenge story when you're going into like a mafia's house and wiping everybody out, dozens of gun-toting guards instead of stalking the men you're trying to kill. It loses me a little bit when it goes too close to that John Wick territory, which I'm a little worried it is.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think this Crow is more understanding of the ability he's been given, like the ability of a god, whereas the original Crow, that didn't matter. Like, he didn't give a shit.
Well, the original Crow also treated it as, like, for one thing, he didn't have somebody walking him through.
No.
Like, he was on his own. He was on his own. I mean, the first time he goes to take somebody out and gets shot, he's kind of like, look at that. I'm alive. So, like, that is also a weird thing. Like, I don't want Eric Draven to have training that he's now an undead soldier. Like, the concept of him trying to kill one of these guys and they shoot him in the chest and he gets back up and is just as surprised as they are is something I want to see. At least, one of the scenes. So it looks cool as far as action and stuff like that. I'm concerned where the story is going to go. I don't like the overall look and feel of this one so far. I agree with Alex. The bright lighting and the storming through nightclubs and mansions and shit is more John Wick than it is The Crow. But I'll watch it. I do feel ultimately it's going to probably fail hard. I mean, unfortunately, I don't think it's going to do well in the theaters at all. You're talking about a remake of a movie that it's celebrating its 30th anniversary in June. And Minnie's saying hi, guys. It's celebrating its 30th anniversary in June, and you're going to make this movie come out this year. So it's going to have tons of comparisons. And it's just like, why? You're not even marketing it well. Like, the movie comes out this year and we're just seeing a teaser, and then the teaser gives a lot away.
That's pretty bad.
Like, you're not even doing a great job. What's up, Sean? Punching a block of meat and running upstairs to get ready. Well, he wants Eric Draven to be Rocky.
Ah, okay.
You gotta get him, Eric.
Get up, you son of a bitch.
Yeah. Don't let him
Mickey loves you.
You're an undead monster. Do it for Adrian, Rock.
That'd be funny if that was the Crow talking to fucking Brandon Lee the whole time. Get up, you son of a bitch.
Yeah, you know what? I think Sean's right. It looks like a nice Netflix movie, not necessarily a summer blockbuster. I'd agree. I think if it was coming straight to Peacock or HBO Max, I'd be all in. Like, hey,
Come
man.
on, give something to Paramount Plus, man. Give them some shit.
Hey, Paramount Plus has actually treated viewers the best. They're still, like, Sonic. I mean, how many movies has hit Paramount Plus day one? Mission Impossible's out there. You know what I mean? Like
D&D.
D&D, they've treated, as far as, like, movies that are in theaters hitting a streaming service, them and HBO have kind of done the best on that. Netflix is its own pile of garbage. It is what it is. Like, Netflix,
they're gonna have boxing.
Oh yeah, the Mike Tyson Jake Paul fight.
Are the rules real? What they're talking about?
I didn't even read them. Here's the thing: from the outset, you have Jake Paul who's like, "Stop saying I only fight old fighters," and it's like, next up, a 57-year-old retired Mike Tyson's fight. It's like, stop fighting old fighters. Yeah. Top Gun.
I think one of the rules is no knockout.
No. One of the things I read was Paul is allowed to wear headgear. Tyson is not. Paul is gonna be allowed to have his brother nearby, so if he needs him to be, I don't know if that was like part of the joke. It's not a real
sport anymore. This isn't real sports. This isn't real boxing. It's bullshit. This is YouTuber boxing still. Jake Paul wants to claim he's a real fucking boxer. He's never had a real boxing match in his entire fucking career besides Tommy Fury, and Tommy Fury won. Like, it is what it is.
The whole era of, like, YouTube
was that sanctioned too, or no?
Fucking thing.
I think it was, but that also had different rules. It might have been an exhibition. Yeah. I don't even fucking know at this. Like, that's the thing is, like, he doesn't even fight for rank. He has no ranking. None of these fights I don't think have actually been ranked with any accordance of any actual boxing league. That's why he talks about how much money he puts up to do it, because it's all his fucking production. Or De La Hoya was one of the ones that did one of the first ones. It's like, this isn't real. It's stupid. It's fake. You know, every one of his fights is bullshit. Like, it is, at least Logan Paul is doing something at a pretty high level, and it's fake, and he knows it. He's performing. Jake Paul is still trying to convince the world he's a legit boxer.
Sean did say Top Gun. That's also another movie I watched. Maverick.
We have not watched that one yet because China has taken it over.
That one's actually good. I was pleasantly surprised.
I also really want to watch the new Mission Impossible. Say what you want about Tom Cruise. Like, I find him to be kind of a cuckoo fuck, but he does great movies, man. As we all saw with War of the Worlds and the Minority Report. That was a weird one. Do we even label that a double dip Tom Cruise or a double dip Steven Spielberg?
It might be
I think it was both, right?
It might be a Cruise Spielberg. Yeah.
Cruise Spielberg sucks each other's wieners. Problem is Mike Tyson is legit crazy, and you can make all the rules, but Tyson might not just follow it. I sincerely hope Jake Paul hits him once, and he goes, "I'm gonna kill this cracker," and he just starts beating the shit out of him. Like, I'm okay with whatever he wants to do.
This motherfucker said he wasn't gonna punch me in the eye, and he got me in this one with my tattoo.
I'm about to beat the shit out of a child.
Now watch me whoop that ass.
You see what I did? I went in that ring. I knocked him the fuck out. He even had headgear. The fucking Luthers. I don't know. I'll watch it. Like, it's on Netflix. Fuck it.
I put that fucking headgear into his ears.
Yeah, I made him bleed from his face.
I couldn't bite him, so I put it through his ear.
I tried to bite him and it's protected. I couldn't do it. Yeah, I don't know though. Just the idea of like he takes criticism for only fighting old retired fighters, not even boxers, and here it is. Like, sure, he's fighting Mike Tyson. And Mike Tyson will more than likely still destroy him, but you're also fighting a 57-year-old man and you're in your 20s. Yeah. Like, that's pathetic. I don't care if it's Mike Tyson, it's pathetic.
Yeah.
Like, Mike Tyson's gone through the phase of stopped boxing, got fat, became irrelevant, was in the hangover, became relevant again, and it's like now
got a face tattoo.
Face tattoo, basically makes his money by selling weed. Oh, let me fight him. Why don't you go fight Jim Belushi next? He's got a weed farm. That's right up your caliber, right?
Ric Flair still wants to get back in the ring.
I hope Ric Flair dies eating a shrimp cocktail. Fuck him. He can't walk up fucking stairs, let alone perform in the ring anymore. Eat a dick, Ric Flair. You and your weed fucking Ric Flair drip. I hope you get one last drink before your arteries solidify, you fuck.
He's got an energy drink too.
That's what he needs to be drinking is energy drinks. Give the former cocaine addict fucking Red Bull. Fuck that guy. Seriously, fuck Ric Flair. Everybody gives Benoit shit because he killed his family. Fuck Ric Flair. Why? I mean, in his current form, why could anybody be a fan of that man? It's disgusting to see him. He goes out in AEW and his punches are like rock'em sock'em robots. Like, what the fuck is going on here? Who is hitting the paddle behind him?
He stomps his foot before he extends his arm.
Yeah, and but
there's no coordination between the two of them anymore.
I don't like this whole Rock being involved in wrestling thing. I know it's probably big business. I don't know, this whole concept. Like, how does it not scream nepotism to everybody involved?
Well, the Rock being a heel though has always been a good thing where people actually boo him. The Rock that's the face guy, I didn't like that one very much because like everybody cheers for him and
it's cringe.
But he was always a good heel.
Of like, I'm the head of the table. And it's like, no, you're on a downswing in your career is what you are. And now you're back in wrestling to try to gain popularity again. Was Kevin Hart unavailable for this year?
I think what was supposed to happen was it was supposed to be The Rock versus Roman Reigns. They were going to do that, but then the fans fucking turned on them completely.
But that's because that's a bullshit thing to do. Like, yeah, to say like, oh, but because here's the problem is 3 days before that, it's like, oh, The Rock is on Avalanche's board of directors.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, wait, now The Rock is central in a storyline. Wait, now The Rock is fighting Roman for a belt. So how, what? But people want to bitch. Yeah, but the same people that are in support of this are like, Brock Lesnar's a part-timer. The wrestling fans are stupid. I'm sorry. Wrestling fans are fucking dumb in the book. They don't know what they want. They're guided by whatever, I mean, the wrestling fans are the same people that's like, I like this female wrestler. Why? Tits?
I like Brock Lesnar. I like Brock Lesnar to be involved in wrestling, but not in the title scene. You know what I mean? I don't want him to be going after the world title or any of the belts ever. I like to have him fight people like that because he is a fighter.
Yeah, I mean,
And
you want to
that's
see
more.
him,
That's more.
even his last gimmick where he was like Country Brock was fun.
Yeah.
That like Country Viking Brock was a fun character. Like, and he's an old timer. Say what you want, but I mean, I think another guy who probably shouldn't be really in championship contention, but like is still he's an old school guy at this point, is The Miz. You know, but once again, you know, it's The Rock. It's like, oh, great, now we have The Rock back. What is that going to do for wrestling? It's popular. He's bringing perhaps in more people now, but you still have to get off of that at some point and go to the storylines that are going to take you throughout the year. Like, it's great for WrestleMania hype, and you can see they're trying to do like UFC style press conferences, but has anybody not told them it's not a sport? Is that like, is the guy who runs Avalanche the guy that was in the room going, it's still real to me? Like, you don't.
Is that the name of the company, Avalanche?
I thought so. I might be wrong. I think it's Avalanche. I could be wrong, but yeah, I don't know. I don't watch a ton of wrestling right now. I don't
TKO.
really like.
That's what it is.
TK. I don't really like AEW's product. I log in and watch clips of like highlights of shit, but I think their product is about as lame as their game is, as far as just, it's stagnant. If WWE was doing the same sort of stagnant booking and storylines, and it's falling in the same trap as ECW. Like, you can only go so far in the hardcore aspect and then differentiate yourself from WWE and expect to compete. Like, yeah, you'll have an audience, but it'll be a tenth of what WWE will have because you're a niche at that point. Like, great, you have exploding barbed wire matches. You couldn't even do it right. You try to compete on a video game level. The game's not good. Your pay-per-views are expensive. They $60 for what? Why do
Holy
you?
shit, for $60 now?
All their pay-per-views though have been really good.
They're
story
good.
and
but you can get you can literally, if you have Peacock, watch every WWE pay-per-view, including WrestleMania. But I'm supposed to fork over $60 for AEW's
that's because
production?
they still don't have a good deal with anybody.
Like, they're making the mistakes that WCW did, and the idea is like, we are not in a pay-per-view world anymore. So this idea that you're asking, like, only your diehards are buying, like, you know, out of the 300,000 people that are watching per AEW Rampage, there's only 40,000, 50,000 buying the pay-per-view because it's $60 fucking dollars. And it's not like you're ordering a New Japan pay-per-view, which is at least some sort of a spectacle. It's an extension of what you see on, what is it, TBS or where they TNT, whatever network they're on. It's just an extension of the shows you see during the week. And maybe that's where I'm wrong with WWE. Maybe the press conferences and shit is what it needs to make it feel that much more of a higher level.
They're doing that because New Japan does press conferences after their matches, and that's where the new challenger always attacks. And AEW started doing that because they all have New Japan ties and everything, and they started doing that. So then all of a sudden WWE started doing media scrums at the end too.
Which, do they make any sense? Let me just put this in perspective. A media scrum for a thing like UFC or boxing is for the fighters to discuss how the fight went, winner and loser, and then they talk about it and they go to their hotel room or the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
How does that have any place in wrestling in any regard? You have two actors talking about the performance they just put on and then acting like they still hate each other and acting like it's not over. It's silly.
That's where the weird thing comes in for WWE's media scrums, is they keep putting it on as they're trying to stay in character, but you hear people like Paul Heyman talk about it from a view of he's a real person, like.
Well, not only is kayfabe dead, it has been since the fucking Attitude Era, but why are we trying to act like it's not dead? Like, you literally have 100 podcasts that talk about wrestling now, including ones from Mark Calloway, aka The Undertaker, Eric Bischoff. Conrad Thompson has 6 wrestling podcasts. Like, there's so much exposure of wrestling in the industry. Why are we trying to fake kayfabe here? And I'm sorry, the last real interview that I saw that was anything close to faking kayfabe was Seth Rollins and Matt Riddle. When they actually had it. The pay-per-view will be illegally streamed anyways. They need to figure a better way to get paid. Well, that's the problem, is they can't. Because they're not that big. Like, that's the truth of it. WWE can make these deals because WWE is a multi-billion-dollar industry in its own. They've created an industry, which is sports entertainment. AEW doesn't have the audience. They don't have the funding. They've got a TV deal, and then they shill their pay-per-views to whatever. I mean, how many different websites have you had to log in to go to a fucking AEW pay-per-view? Like, there's not been one website where it's like the home of AEW. No, it's this one's being hosted by this provider. This one's being hosted by this provider. It seems a hell of a lot like me to the pay-per-view era that WCW found themselves in. Am I wrong? And I also find $60 to be fucking egregious for any pay-per-view. And they can't even say, well, WWE's are more expensive because WWE. If you have basic cable, Peacock is with it. And if you don't want ads, it's fucking $5 or $10 a month. Why is there not some sort of service like that with AEW, New Japan? Why haven't the independent companies worked? Like, they're supposed to be supporting TNA and the independents, right? How come they haven't built infrastructure to go, no, here, all of our on-demand content, our pay-per-views are housed here. We have a monthly subscription, or you'll get a discounted paper, whatever the fucking circumstances are.
I'm still pissed off that they took my Peacock network away from me, and I have to pay for it now.
Well,
I don't even get the free version.
I don't either. They took it away from everybody. I pay for it too.
No, my Anthony gets it for free. They told me he was going to get it for the next 2 years.
Mine ended too, and I have to pay $5 a month instead of the whole. It might be 10.
Yeah, I think it's like 10 or 11 now.
I mean, it is what it is. I mean, but you watch a lot of wrestling, so for you, it's a worthy investment. Me, I watch some pay-per-views. We watch Royal Rumble. We'll definitely watch WrestleMania. I do watch, I'm not completely ignorant to it all. I do watch it, but I watch it in clip form. So I'm not the biggest fan of The Rock's heel turn. Like, him being a heel is fine. I just don't think he has any business in the show. And I think anybody who's cheering him on, if they ever bitched about part-timers, needs to shut the fuck up, because you're cheering on a literal part-timer that post-WrestleMania will disappear once again so he can make Jumanji 3. And that's the reality.
Yeah.
Enough about that. Hey, Sean, we tried to do a wrestling podcast with Fabian. He flaked, and then it just didn't happen anymore. But if you want it, and it's a real thing where you guys would actually watch, I'll reconsider it. It's just Alex is already watching the goddamn shit. So it's an investment of time on my part is what it would equal. But if it's legitimately something you guys would be interested in, I will heavily consider it. And I don't know if Alex wants to as well.
Although I think AEW did try to talk to Netflix. Strong.
I mean, that was probably the smartest thing, even though, once again, Netflix is like, we waste a lot of money, but we're not wasting any on you. Because that's fucking, like, we literally put shows into production that have already cost us $5 million and then cancel them.
Cancel them before they air. We just have to air them now because we want to make up some money.
Yeah, we're going to shelve them and never use them. But we did spend the money on it. It's like, go fucking idiots. All right.
And then remember, if you use Netflix's programming, you can't make physical copies or digital copies to be sold anywhere. You lose it to their network. That's Netflix's deal now. That's why, like, you won't get Stranger Things season 4 or 5. If you make a movie, a Netflix, a Netflix original. If you make anything that Netflix is original, it's not allowed to be sold as a physical copy, and you can't buy it anywhere else in digital copy. It's stuck on Netflix.
That's not true, though. There are Netflix originals that you can buy on Vudu. Now, this may be older ones.
Yeah, older ones. Yes, everything going forward.
Okay.
You can't. That's like why the creator of Midnight Mass, that director, he's like, I'm not working with you fuckers anymore. Then because I wanted my shit to be physical copy.
Yeah, Netflix really kind of is the bottom feeder, in my opinion, of the content pool in the streaming network. Sean, no, you didn't miss a goddamn thing, Sean. We haven't even really gotten into it.
Nope.
We've been bullshitting for too long. So with that said, sorry.
This is the tangent session.
I was gonna say, I think about as far as Netflix, they want to keep everything digital because they were the ones that created it like that, because they're the ones that went from being a physical only media and now they went to digital and physical. Now they're only digital. And they're like, you know what? We want to be digital only. Fuck those media bullshit.
Isn't it wild how, like, Netflix put Blockbuster out of business and now they're watching every other streaming network fucking surpass them?
Put them out of business.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. How
That's what
funny
happens
is
when
Yeah.
your pockets keep wanting to be filled instead of fucking putting it back in.
Just understand, Sean, we said it at the beginning, Shogun episode reviews will be spoilers from now on, because if you're watching it, I hope you are, there's really no way to avoid them without actually talking
There
about the
isn't.
episodes. But
Yeah.
I figure you guys want to do Shogun first, you want to do the movies first?
Oh, we could do either. We could do. I don't know. How do you want
I
to
think
end
we
it? Do
should
you
do
want to end it
Shogun
with?
because it's only one episode.
Yeah.
And then we got 2 movies.
Yeah, so you want
So I
to
think
do
we
Shogun?
should do
Okay.
Shogun. Yeah.
Okay. So we're going to start Shogun right now. I made sure to good, yeah, because from here on out, when we review an episode of Shogun, it will be with spoilers. So let's go into Shogun. So we're going to talk a little bit about episode 3, and then move into episode 4. A little bit of recap on episode 3. We end it with Toranaga. I don't want to butcher the name, but Toranaga's escape, essentially, from Osaka, and you had a lot go on as far as the politics, and they were attacked on the way out, and you really do see essentially like all of this is corruption. They're after Toranaga because he was given the power to watch over the kingdom and for the heir, and they want the power, so they want to oust him and essentially fucking kill him on false pretenses.
Also, was he or wasn't he betrayed?
Well, see, that's the other thing about the show is it's like I feel like everybody's betraying everybody. Like even when you get in episode 4 and the one guy's consort that he's fucking and he tells her he loves her, she's also standing there listening as they talk about fucking over Toranaga.
Oh yeah, she's a sneaky fucker.
Yeah,
she's gonna come in and do some shit later.
Yeah, where it's just like you can't like, and that's actually a theme of the show. And Toranaga even says it: once you're alone, you're always playing a game of friends and enemies.
But I think she is being like a concubine. She's the one that's putting that shit in his ear, and she's like happy now that she put that in his ear.
She's definitely she's the serpent slithering down that tree. Yeah,
she's playing the field. But Toranaga, what's cool about Toranaga is he understands the politics better than the other 4 regents. So like it's great because they're like, okay, well he sent a letter of resignation, and they're like, okay, well we're gonna vote anyway. And the person, his second hand is like, well no you can't.
Yeah.
Because you need 5 votes. There's
I
only 4
I
of
only
you.
see 4.
Yep.
Well, then you have the uncle. I don't remember his character's name, but the uncle on the ship is like, I will accept that you would do Supaka, and it's like, fuck you, bro. Like I'm literally escaping for a reason, dickhead. Like I just pulled trickery to get here. You think I'm gonna fucking kill myself? Fuck you.
Well, Toranaga tells him, he's like, when that official letter comes through, we'll talk about that. But that letter has not come through yet.
Which
and
is
the
how
look on his uncle's face was like, oh shit.
Once again, the uncle is Tim Allen of the Japanese. How he just makes like the whole show.
I love his character. I know he's a bad guy, but I love his.
You talk about Kashigi Yuba. I can't even say that name. But
yeah, the one that runs where they're gathering the army.
The one that's either turned on him or not. So that's
he's very much
may or may not have.
Well, he's either just trying to keep his head, or he is playing both sides. It's
right.
It's very I think he's just doesn't know what to do. The end of episode 3.
His nephew is the Omi. His nephew is the Omi one that does the fucking thing at the end. With
the episode 3 ending where they do escape, and then you have I can't remember her character, but the interpreter, the female
Mariko's husband.
Her husband shows how much of a true samurai he is by just wrecking fucking house to help Toranaga get out of there. You have the Portuguese merchant ship is basically like, I don't give a fuck, I'm never coming back anyways, let us the fuck out of here. And then Toranaga uses that to get the fuck out of there. And then you have the barbarian who talks like this. I don't understand his voice. Like, I don't get, like, it just throws me off.
He speaks Portuguese like that.
Well, that exactly, right? Like, the whole thing is they're all, so if in case you don't know, when they're speaking English in the show, it's actually Portuguese.
Yes.
It's not actually English.
But so when he's talking to certain people on his ship, then it's English.
Yeah, but it's
there are certain points in the show where he's actually speaking English.
And then there's like, well, every time he's like bloody, like it's English, but just his voice, because it literally goes from like Japanese staunch warrior talk to like, oh, I love the rain. It's like, why is Kano in this movie? What the fuck is going on? Like, I do like him.
I love that the part. There's their portion. So when the show starts, the barbarian meets the uncle's son. And the conversations between them is just insults. Then later on in episode 4, he comes back to the island and meets the uncle's son, and it's just fucking insult after insult.
My favorite one though was
rag to go fuck himself.
My favorite one was you milk dribbling fuck smear. Like what he called him, that you milk dribbling fuck smear.
Peaky fucking blinders. Hoi. That's what we're dealing with right now. Which is I'm digging it. It's just his voice throws me off every time because like he didn't talk too much in the first episode, and then as he gets more and more voice lines, it's like what is with this voice? Like this is a very like old timey Brit, and it works, but it's just a weird voice.
He starts talking more because he's also learning the language, and he's talking all these different languages now.
The scene where he pulls out the toot, he's fucking got double muskets on him, and then he gives them to his consort, who literally says, "I'd rather remove a gourd from a horse than take this gift." This is later, but rather than take this gift from me. But in order to make sure there's no death, she goes, "Give me them." Mariko says, "Give them to her. She'll protect them with her life." And then the nephew is just like, "Give me the guns," and she's like, "Get the fuck out," and puts it like, you know what I mean? Like it goes from like she looks at him and it's just like, "You should leave."
And also the way that she always handles weapons that she hands him, she puts her hands in the shirt or whatever.
Yeah.
Because it's something about like physically touching them. Yeah, you're not supposed to lay your hand. But I love her character because it goes like, you just lost your son and your husband, but the honor and the name of that she carries and the placement of her like job from here on out is more important to her than everything that's happened. I think that's so badass that they portray.
But she does have to be
the honor element.
She does have to be reminded of her honor though every now and then because she wants to just give it all up.
Well, I mean that whole scene, like, I mean, how do you not like the characters? Like even the barbarian, he gives her the gun. And he's like, "I'm really going to miss that one, but I'm giving it to you." And, and like he gives it to her. And then she comes out and pulls her literal family lineage and tells him, I can't be a consort to somebody who doesn't have fucking swords. Take these. Like you.
And then I love the next scene is they're on the battlefield and the uncle's like, "This fucker's carrying swords now."
That's
now he's got swords.
Yeah. No, he's got swords. That's a bad omen. And dude, I love his character is funny, and I like him between his like the noises he makes and shit. So the entire episode 4 is essentially you get the barbarian making a deal with Toranaga. Toranaga starting to build an army to which he wants the barbarian to teach them naval cannon combat, which, by the way, the Japanese, as far as boats, were very underwhelming. They did not have any sort of ships. That's why part of it was because the Portuguese only gave them the shit ships, so they couldn't travel far. Yep. So they're very limited. So now in episode 4, we're starting, he's trying to tell Mariko, "Give me my men, and I'll have you a fleet of ships."
Yeah.
And that would be devastating. He poses the idea of, we don't need to storm the castle. You park me in the bay and you'll walk right the fuck in.
I'll open a door for you.
Not only that, it's badass that he proves that his strategy.
He's got fucking
they're
aim.
mocking him. They're like, the cannons
they're
don't
never
fucking
gonna hit it that far away. He's just like, this fucking barbarian.
Now he might be a little more off though when it comes to water because there is some waves that go up and down and it does move you up and down.
That's the thing though, is
because he's a seaman.
Yeah, that's why he's got they're so accurate on land because he's used to dealing with all that bullshit. Like you gotta remember, when you're on the chop, the only way to fire those accurately is perfect timing. So like theoretically on land, that's easy as fuck for him. He's just got to point and aim at that, but he knows distance and all. He's got his little fucking thing he's looking through to distance it. And boy, I mean, that scene's amazing too, how he's like, he's never gonna hit the fucking targets and just one, 2 at a time, he's whipping them out.
Yep.
Then he starts showing them chain shot. Dude, like, and here's the thing, he's clearly a fucking pirate, but he's a pirate that was going after the Portuguese Christians. And that whole concept in the show of like the Japanese not understanding that they're a very small piece of what other people think they own.
Yes.
It's a crazy concept.
And I also love that Marika, you find out that she realizes that she's essentially him. Like, she knows what he's been through and who he is, because she's going through the same shit. You find out the name she's using isn't real.
Mm-hmm.
She most likely was a warrior.
And it's a famous name.
Now,
also,
and it's a famous name. Yeah.
How many people do you think know this about her?
Well, I think Toranaga knows.
Yeah,
that's why
Well,
he's just so
knows,
close.
yeah.
but
Yeah.
like, why do you, like? I'd imagine not. It doesn't seem like a story she tells everybody.
Oh yeah, no.
And maybe it was just the fact that she saw his Diddy
And I
when
don't-
he was bathing. But she's like, at that point, she starts to just really open up. That was also after the gift he gave, so she kind of saw like, this guy isn't a barbarian. He's just different from us.
Well, Fuji gave him a gift too after that too.
Yeah, and to be fair, his dialogue is really
No,
well
I'm not
written.
talking about the sword. I'm not talking about the sword. She gave him another gift.
Well, no, that wasn't Fuji.
No, that wasn't
no,
Fuji.
That was
She told
Mariko.
No, she told her, go give him this gift.
No,
And she's,
No,
it wasn't
dude,
Fuji. That was Mariko.
Marika, yeah.
no, what's her name? She wasn't going to sleep with the pilot. So she said, here, give him this gift and you go to him. She was like, I'm not going to do it. You go fuck him. So that's why Mariko went and fucked him.
I didn't.
But she wanted.
Marika
She
told
says,
Fuji, yes.
yeah, she says Fuji. That's why she goes. That's why Fuji says I was your gift. And he looks at her and she smiles at him and she nods.
Yeah, but that's before they exchange gifts.
No, this was after.
Because when she gives him she doesn't give him the gift by Mariko's order.
No,
He gives her the gun and she gives him the own gift or her.
but
the swords
then
on her own.
she had said that you know he needs to be pillowed. So she's like, Mariko, you go pillow him because I'm not going to pillow him. I'm using their terms.
It's understandable, right? Like you literally, and Jen was like, I don't get it. Why did they kill the kid too? And I was like, because they're wiping the bloodline.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah,
was
you have
like,
to-
he
yeah, you have to get rid of
disrespected
everything.
it, so they're wiping the bloodline. Who's the
If he had
next
more
crazy
people in his
ninja
name,
maid?
if he had more people in his name, they would have been dead too.
Yeah, if he would have
And
more
if
sons and
they didn't-
yeah.
Or even like brothers and sisters. Yeah.
Well, we're not
they didn't
sisters.
kill him off,
It's only.
Mariko
Oh,
only
yeah, you know what I mean,
yeah.
brothers. Yeah.
Yeah, it's all
Yeah.
the only the males.
And if he didn't kill him off, Marika tells the barbarian, like, if this wouldn't have happened, it would have caused war. It would have
Yeah.
started to fight earlier.
Which is insane. I mean, it really does show you the insanity of the honor that is 100% the focal point of the culture, especially back then.
Yeah.
I mean, even now, but especially back then. Yeah, the show also finds really, I think, clever ways to add humor. Like the next morning when he's just sitting there and Mariko sits next to him and he's like, "Oh, good morning," and she's just like, "I hope you had a good night." And he's like, "Oh, I had some good company," and she's just like, "I'm glad you enjoyed her." And then, like, he looks away. She's got that little smile. Like, yeah, some pretty good dick. Bro.
That's the part where she tells him that I was a gift to you from Fuji.
Okay, I missed that. Then.
That's where she says it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he's like, that's one hell of a gesture. That's why he says
Yeah.
It's a good gesture.
Oh, okay. Yeah, see,
that's what he's talking
I
about.
missed that line. Goddamn subtitles. That's the one problem about not understanding Japanese watching this, is you look away for 2 fucking seconds to see where the dog is and you miss a line. God damn, I gotta watch this.
That's why it takes me a little longer than an hour to watch.
I'm gonna
those
put the
episodes. I
dogs
gotta
in a
keep
fucking
rewinding.
cage because I refuse to watch it dubbed. God damn it! But I'm not missing any more lines of
reading too, yeah.
dialogue.
I'm reading the subtitles too.
Let's get
Me too.
to the best part of the episode. Yeah,
Oh, yes.
Giovanni, what the fuck happens?
So the
Yuki.
Irido
Yuki.
army.
Oh, okay, yeah.
The Irido army.
Yoshido.
Yoshido, something like that. Yoshido.
Yeah, Yoshido army.
So Ishido is, if you guys are watching, you know who Ishido is. He is the council member that is trying to kill Toranaga
Yeah.
and take everything over. His men come to essentially parlay and say like, "Hey, uncle, you need to come back." And
Come
he's
back
like,
with us.
"Why?" And he's like, "Well, you know you're dead, right? Like you need to come back and die, pay for what you've done."
Yeah.
And so essentially the barbarian says, you know, no, or he tells him, "Stay. We're gonna have a demonstration tomorrow. You know, you're going to see the power of this." And in the conversation there, where he's telling the other guy, like, "No, I want to show you the weapons we're going to have for Ishido." And then he's like, "No, I want to show them the weapons so they quake." And the guy's like, I look forward to quaking. And what happens? Oh, wait, sticks and stones will break my bones, but words will never harm me has never been taught in Japan. No, Japan's one of those things where it's like you walked on the moss and their fucking swords are out. It's like, what the fuck just happened? I'm just walking. It's my home.
You're supposed to step on stones.
Yeah, you know.
That night they stay. The uncle's son convinces Toshido's son that like, hey, we have the cannons. You're going to demonstrate the cannons, and they're going to know the power.
Mhm.
He's like, so what are you going to do about it? And he's tired. The son is tired of not being able to contribute.
Well, okay, so yes,
He's
what he does has major repercussions, but he's right.
he wants to show that he is ready.
He's right though. Uncle is playing both sides. You can't trust him. You can't trust him at all because this entire army is his, and something's funky here. So he is right, but he's also
the heir is always being treated like he's some little boy that doesn't know shit.
Yeah,
and he's like, I'm not a little boy. I know what I'm doing.
Which blows my mind that the characters, the uncle's son, the uncle, yes, they're lying. They're using like deceptive aspects on both sides for Ishido and Tanato's army, but in their convolution, they're telling the truth.
Yeah,
they're using truths like, and you're like, oh shit. And to be honest with you, if the uncle's son didn't talk to the other son, this was going to happen anyway.
Yeah,
this just escalated quicker because of that conversation.
Toranaga's son is technically right. The fact that those men are even there is an insult.
Yeah,
that's not their land. They have no claim to it. They have no business being there. And Uncle, because he's playing both sides, is like, no, we need peace. And Toranaga's kid's right. The fact they're there should be a sign, a call out for war. You shouldn't be here.
It is.
And then
and Uncle's dynamic is interesting because Toranaga promised him to be a lord and land, but he knows that if he goes with Ishido, he's not going to get the lordship, he's not going to get the land, but he'll be able to keep his head.
Yeah.
Maybe.
That's the problem. Yeah, that's the problem.
Also giving the enemy a heads up on what... Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
And the Ishido's general told him, the deal was you come back with us so we can kill you. Yeah, so you can try to die a proper death.
You're gonna pay your consequences. Sean says also giving the enemy a heads up on the weaponry that plan to use in battle is a basic is a bad tech. And that's what I thought too. When he said that, I was like, why would we want to showcase?
He was trying to convince that guy to join them though, because that guy has his own. I think he's one of the four.
Yeah, no, but he didn't try to convince him. The whole conversation between Uncle and that guy was basically like, no, I'm actually loyal to Ishido.
Yeah.
It was a trick. It was a trick. He's only trying to save his own ass, to be honest.
He's basically playing that like whoever wins, I want to be on their side.
Because he also
doesn't have any faith in Toranaga.
He also makes a comment where if you don't like the show tomorrow, he's like, you could take my head. He says it like that too.
Yeah. Well,
he does. So the demonstration opens up in the morning, and the son rolls out and looks at the general, and he says, "I'm going to challenge you." He pulls a sword out. He's like, "You disrespected my father. You disrespected my name." And I'm like, "Oh shit! It's a samurai battle. Like clearly the general's more. He has more skill than you.
Yeah,
this is not a good idea." But the son has been watching the barbarian teach his men how to fire these cannons properly, and a cannon was set up across the field, and the son fires the
clear the way
into the crowd. Yeah, like I was like, oh shit.
The amount of devastation
like the Patriot.
When
that seems like the Patriot where limbs are flying.
When he walks up to and like they show it all, by the way. They are firing chain shot into a group of about 10 of samurai or Japanese soldiers, and they go to the close-up shot, and the main guy, both arms are gone, leg is gone.
The horse got disintegrated.
Everything that was in the way is done, and he looks at him and he goes, "This is not how we fight." And the line of dialogue I said was right before he cuts his head off was, "It is now, bitch," and he just fucking flop. And it is such a cool. And we're watching it, and I go to Jen and I'm tapping her. I'm like, "They're gonna be the fucking targets." And she's like, "You think so?" And I was like, "The demonstration's going to be on those men." And sure enough, I was like, yes, I was hoping this is what it would be.
So good.
It is such a cool fucking way. It is the best of the Game of Thrones formula in ending an episode. Because I do feel this show is very Game of Thronesy and formulaic in that way.
Or Black Sails. I love fucking Black Sails too.
Or Black Sails, and it does the archetypal perfect way to end an episode, where you have this destruction from the son of Toranaga. You have Marika going, "This is war," and then it ends. And it's just the show does endings so fucking good, dude. The ends of every episode are so good.
I wonder if some of the people who actually worked on all those HBO shows are working with FX now.
You know they are. Everybody's working everywhere. And Game of Thrones is dead. The only other you only have one other Game of Thrones show now, which is the other one. So
which has been like what, 2 years?
Yeah, you'd have to imagine there's a lot of.
Yeah, we're supposed to get it this year.
Yeah, there's probably a lot of people that have worked within these other shows and shit. And the industry as a whole has changed because of Game of Thrones. I mean, every fantasy show is now a fantasy epic. So like it is following that formula.
I said this last week. I love the way Westworld's opening montage starts. I love the way Game of Thrones started. I love Black Sails, and I love this one too.
The intro
like
is good,
how it's like props.
After the first time, I don't watch them anymore. I skip it. I watch it once and never again.
I do it once.
I can watch it a couple times. I can watch it a couple times before I skip it. You know, I just like every now and then I'll let it play.
The only one I can watch over and over is the Game of Thrones one, but it was the music that made that opening. It wasn't
after a certain hour, FX is allowed to show certain things like that.
Oh no,
and only on certain days.
No, they could. According to cable, they could show it whenever. That's why you have. It's usually the late night stuff.
But I think it's after a certain hour that they can do that kind of stuff.
No, that's the thing. It's been this way for a long time. It's just they didn't do it. Technically, in the rules, there's nothing to say in the rules of cable that
because it's not broadcast TV.
Yeah, you can say all these words. They just never did. And the first show I remember having "fuck" in it was
Happy,
and that was Sci-Fi Network.
And then they showed it on USA Network as well.
And they would show the edited one, and then they would right after that one show the unedited one, and then you had Always Sunny, which as soon as Always Sunny got the go ahead to go full R, you have episodes where they're literally saying cunt in the episode.
Oh yeah.
So I
Always
think
Sunny is insane.
Cable TV in general, especially with the streaming era, we have surpassed the idea of language, and I mean there's tits in this, there's violence, there's language. It is a rated R production.
So USA Network is a
basic
what's it called? Yeah, but it's not but network.
No, none of them.
And they remember that whole little gimmick with DX when they did the thing like from the hours of this and this we are allowed to say these words and these words, but from the hours of this and this we can say this.
And that's the thing. That wasn't
that used
even
to be like that.
No, but that wasn't even then it's not in the rules of cable. That was pressure from housewives and shit like that, calling Turner or TNT or whatever network they were on, bitching to the
USA,
point where you were USA to the point where they told McMahon, we're going to drop the show if this shit continues. You're allowed to say certain things, but that was all self-inflicted. None of that was FCC. That was all our, people who watch our network are bitching that this 2-hour block of wrestling is too vulgar. That's the craziness, is like theoretically the FCC doesn't have any power if a cable company has fuck on their show. Theoretically, WWE could be like AEW with the language and everything. It's all self-inflicted.
So it's not in the rules. It was basically woke people being woke.
Well, it's the old school thing of like my child was watching wrestling and now he went to school and he's doing the chops at his friends and it's vulgar. That's what that was.
Yeah.
Well, then why is your child watching it if you're there with them?
Well, that's the age old thing, right? We want to regulate content but not regulate our children.
Yeah, it's
like, hey, because my kid is 10, Mortal Kombat shouldn't exist because there's a chance he could play it. Where do you come in? You're the fucking family. You're the parents. You decide what that child does. Whether you think so or not, that's you're fully in your fucking control.
I don't want my kid to play Mortal Kombat because he might reach in somebody's throat and pull their whole skeleton out.
Yeah. But he can go to his local school library and read a book where a guy sucks another guy's dick.
In today's age, that is true.
That's what people are fighting for in schools and fighting against in schools. How do we have a society where fucking wrestling is too much for people and rated R content? You still have people bitching about rated R content and look at the Twitch dilemma. Oh, what if my child clicks on one of these horrors on Twitch? He's going to be scarred. Don't let your fucking child click on it.
Don't forget to check your Discord. I posted something in your general.
Okay.
Later on.
It's the whole concept of I'm not going to protect my child, so therefore the things that are no good for them or I think are no good for them, they need to be shut down. Same concept. It's been going on since Tipper Gore and the fucking parental advisory. It's been going on since Elvis swinging his hips on TV. It's the same stupid
We're only going to show Elvis from the waist up. Or no, from the pretty much the stomach up because his waist was too.
But once again, meanwhile, we're fighting for the right for our same age 10 to 12-year-olds going into a school library and being able to see images and writing of oral sex on people. What in the fuck is wrong with us? I don't get it. That's an entirely different show, but I don't get it. Are we just how are we? Last week we did kind of recommended, not recommended.
I think we should do that until the last episode, so we can review the whole show.
Easy peasy.
Yeah. It's just reviews, but I'm still saying recommend. Go for it.
It's only getting better. It's just getting more and more.
Doing it right, and you know what? I think HBO's Game of Thrones was kind of like that mold break, if you will. That not the mold break, but kind of like the final nail in the coffin.
You have waves, right? Like the first wave was, in my opinion, Sopranos and The Shield.
Oh yeah.
That was the first wave of new cinematic, heavier TV, and then it's evolved since then. You have other networks chime in, like you have the Burn Notice style, which the whole Miami show style, including Dexter. And all those shows set in Miami kind of have their own style. And then now after Game of Thrones, every show that was going to be a fantasy sci-fi / thing, whatever, is now an epic fantasy sci-fi thing. And that's I think a direct influence from Game of Thrones. I think the Shogun just makes sense to have that politics, but shows in general now more and more involve that level of strategery. I love the strategery. I love that this show is the first show to smash the glass ceiling. If cable TV wants to compete with streaming, this is the way. So yes and no, Sean. The problem is this isn't even being produced for cable TV. Let's be real. This is being produced for the people that stream it. I guarantee
this is streaming.
Your average viewer doesn't go home and watch it on their DVR.
They're waiting for it to.
Well, you can't get 4K on cable. So why would I go on my cable box and watch a 1080p compressed signal when I can log into Disney Plus, use that to watch it through my Hulu? It's 4K, it's Dolby Digital. I'm going to make the argument that the reason why the quality in these shows is going up is because they're no longer being made for the cable market and they're being made for the streaming market, and they happen to also show them on TV. I think an indicator of this is the fact that the show drops on Hulu at the same time as it does on Netflix.
Oh, that is true.
Game of Thrones did it too. And as soon as we got to the point where there was an HBO Max or whatever the fuck they called it initially, HBO Go, as soon as that became a thing, Game of Thrones followed that too, where you'd have the episode would premiere at the same time as it did on the streaming. I pay to not have ads. I don't do ads.
I do too. I don't give a shit. I paid for no ads.
I don't like the model, but I watch a lot of YouTube. I pay for YouTube Plus Premium, whatever the fuck it's called. Not the TV, but YouTube Premium because I don't want ads. Hulu's the.
I get Hulu for free, so I'm okay with ads.
I'm not. I don't like. I
can't.
I could have watched Top Gear on Tubi. And the ads drove me so nuts. As soon as I found a deal on Vudu, I bought it.
Yeah, I can't do ads anymore, and that's a symptom of the time. Like once I got YouTube Premium, I was like, fuck no, I want all my streaming services to be like this. So I can't do it. But I will say, if I know we say hey, it's a politic drama show, and I know some people are like, ooh, but I will tell you that the dialogue, in this show is so good, even in subtitle form. The conversations they're having between each other is so fucking good. It's done so well. So
I
definitely watch it.
So I watched the subtitle version of it today just for shits and giggles. I put the dub version. It's actually very close. They actually are doing better with dub shit.
I'd imagine
But
the
it's
dubbing
funny.
is
It's
pretty
funny to
solid
see.
all in
It's
all.
funny to see the lips not matching.
See, that's where I can't do it. You got
subtitles, yeah.
as a kid who watched a lot of kung fu movies, I would have, like, even back then, if I could watch, like, if I watch a Jackie Chan movie now, and unfortunately a lot of them when you buy them are only the dub track.
Mm-hmm.
But if I could, I would watch those in native language too. I do not like dubbed. For me, especially in a show like Shogun, even though it is better because I too have looked at the dubbed, you lose the actual emotion and performance of the actor.
Because the voice is not the same, and it's a lot fucking different. But
especially speaking Japanese, the stresses are very important.
There's a lot of that and the accents about it. Like, that's the thing is, like, for me at this point, if it's subtitled and there's a dubbed version, I'm going subtitle because in my opinion, you lose the performance, and I'm a performance guy. Like, good acting is good acting, and I think honestly, if you're watching it dubbed, good, enjoy the show, but you are missing out on the performance the actors are really trying to give you.
Also, if you really are interested in learning the language, that is the best way to learn it, is to keep watching subtitles and hearing it, and then repeating it, and then
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, until you get punched in the face for saying something wrong because you're trying to learn a language on a goddamn movie.
But there's a lot of like my kids listen to that K-pop stuff. A lot of those singers actually learned English from watching TV shows like Friends and stuff like that. So they just have the wrong placing of saying certain words, like how to say it. They put it in the wrong place, but they do really good.
I've been to Japan. Their English is pretty good. I was actually shocked.
Because they teach them.
Man, I'm
they
gonna have
teach
to
them
learn the
English
language
too.
barrier, and when they spoke, I'm like, oh shit, I don't have to learn much.
I honestly think we need to figure out how to get the best of the loser incels in this country. And by best of the loser incels, I mean the ones that shower and at least try. They just don't have luck. I think we need to send them over to Japan, and as long as they aren't black, the women will like them. I mean, I'm sorry, Japan's racist as fuck. I hate to tell you this. Does a great job of explaining Japanese history. It's such a unique culture and different to the Western culture. Yeah, the whole scene where she explains that not only are they trying to kill each other, but the water, the air, the land is all trying to kill them, and they build their homes to go up as quickly as they go down, is a depressing concept. Literally, you're talking about a people...
They're making walls out of paper.
Well, the core function of the society is misery, and we just kind of exist around it. Well, it's really bleak, to say the least, at that point.
It's also cool, like, when Tanaka or Tanato, when Lord Tanato's asking the barbarian about the world and realizes it's bigger than he expects, and then when the barbarian is talking to her about how dangerous, when she's talking to the barbarian about how dangerous the world really is, the look on their faces, it's really cool to see that, like, aspect of, like, shock from both people. Like, it's really cool to see.
Well, when with the consort, how he, like, she's always following. How do I get it? Just go.
Yeah.
And the concept of, like, no, if you're awake, she's awake. You don't understand. This is your person.
Mm-hmm.
It's, if she's sleeping right now, she's being dishonorable to you. It's not doing her job. It's dishonoring you. And you've been given a title. And if she dishonors you, along with the rest of her family, she'll be beheaded.
Mm-hmm.
It's that level of, honestly, of insanity. But it's driven by honor, so it's its own type of insanity. It's not an insanity of, like, we're a culture off the rails. It's the opposite. It's a culture very tightly wound and very much on rails to a T of you step off, your entire goddamn bloodline gets eliminated. It's that sort of culture. As opposed to the American culture where if your kid calls you a fucking cocksucker and you slap him in the mouth, you could be, DCFS will be knocking on your fucking door. Just saying. All right, that's it for Shogun. We've done it. Next week we'll be doing the next episode, obviously episode 5. Dredd or Judge Dredd first? What do we want to do? The old first, and then we'll finish up with Dredd.
I think we should old. Yeah, do Judge Dredd first.
All right, we will be doing the official normal out of 10 stars review for Judge Dredd. This is the Sylvester Stallone, Rob Schneider vehicle. Herschel from Walking Dead. Herschel.
Yep.
This isn't gonna be a long review, guys. I fucking love this movie. I will admit It's got some issues. It's not a masterpiece, but
I think a lot of it was to do with Stallone, though. I think a lot of the issues.
I think a lot of it
just by reading some of the trivia.
I've also read stuff about that movie getting ripped apart in editing, though.
But also, it's so Judge Dredd is a comic. It's a comic book character, and I feel like comic book movies in this era have that bit of like comical slapstick. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that like flow.
Everything from Schneider's character to Stallone going, "I knew you'd say that."
Yeah.
The one-liners.
So in watching this movie, knowing that it's a very good movie.
I enjoy it. Yeah, I really do like this movie a lot.
I still like the movie. Yeah, but one of the things that
it's just the concept of that movie, that style, of that movie, that comic book style, wasn't as serious as it could have been.
But it does have. I mean, there's moments in it where, like, when you come across the old war robot, and he reprograms, he goes, rip this bitch's arms and legs off. Like, it's just, there's shit like, you know what I mean? Like, he says it almost like, please give me a Diet Coke. And just rip this bitch's arms and legs off, and he goes to readjust in his chair. It's like, what the fuck? Sorry, Alex, go on.
That's the between the two movies. I like the revamp version of it because of how serious it was, but I like this one too because it had the whole comic book feeling.
I'm going to cut you off. You want to just do them both, and we'll compare and contrast and review them at the same time?
That's what I figured we'd do.
Yes, we should.
Yeah.
But then give separate dogs though.
Yeah. You separate reviews. I think the original. For one thing, I mean, even if you look at the original X-Men movie, which was, I believe, 99, around 2000 maybe, they didn't know what they were doing. Because even though the original X-Men started kind of the super, didn't start it, but it was dead after Superman, other than Batman movies. And even those over the 90s got worse and worse and more dumb and less real and serious. And you have X-Men and you have a movie like this come out where you didn't have the people with the same creativity to make these movies. So for them it was, hey, Judge Dredd's a badass character. In Hollywood, you have this badass, this badass, this badass, this badass. So who's going to be Dredd? Stallone, Schwarzenegger, Lundgren, Willis. Who are we going to cast? Okay, we've casted Stallone. Let's write to Stallone being Dredd. So to his mannerisms, to the way he talks. And then it was like, then we're going to build a movie. I will say, the set pieces in Judge Dredd, an overall big budget feel of the movie is something I miss from 90s movies. You don't feel that anymore.
So almost 10 years before this, I'm sorry, real quick. Almost 10 years before that this movie was made, the director actually wanted to have Harrison Ford be Dredd.
Oh.
And Christopher Walken, he wanted in the movie. He wanted Daryl Hannah to be Anderson.
Oh Jesus!
That was his choice, and he actually mocked up a poster for the movie of Dredd back in '87. Almost 10 years before this.
Why does everybody like Harrison Ford?
Well, 10 years before that, it was Harrison Ford. So, I mean,
like, he was
Ford. The actor.
I don't know why he's such a big actor. I don't get it. Indiana Jones was great. U-571 was a cool movie.
Wasn't he also like almost 40 when he actually was Han Solo? Like, wasn't he almost 40 years old?
Yes, Indiana Jones as well. He was in his like mid to late 30s.
Yeah, the roles that made him, Indiana Jones and Star Wars, he didn't want them.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is,
he was just a carpenter.
Let's be real about Harrison Ford.
He wanted extra money.
What has his career been besides Star Wars and Indiana Jones? Nobody goes, Harrison Ford, man, did I love What Lies Beneath. Nobody fucking says that.
Air Force One is another one, though.
But what is the only thing people remember what is the only thing people remember from that movie, Alex? I'll wait.
Which one? Where Steven Seagal
Get off my plane. That's the only fucking thing people remember of that movie. And what they also forget about that movie isn't Gary Oldman the bad guy? Another great villainous Gary Oldman role that is overshadowed by this geriatric fuck known as Harrison Ford. Can anybody name me a career-defining role before him that wasn't Han Solo or Indiana Jones? Because his career, other than that, in my opinion, wasn't much of a career.
Blade Runner. That's more of a cult classic.
After 1993, what has he made that's iconic? Air Force One is not iconic, but I'll throw it in there, I guess. I mean, his
What was that
heyday-
character's name though? What with Air Force One? Wasn't it like a series of characters that he did like for that or no?
What do you mean?
Wasn't it like a Jack Reacher type thing? Like wasn't it like no?
No. He had done a couple. He did The Fugitive, and
Oh well, that's one. Yeah, but he wasn't in the sequel though.
That's another really big one for him.
Yeah.
That was like probably his biggest in the early '90s. That wasn't a Star Wars project.
But also, it was the accompaniment of Tommy Jones that fucking made that.
I don't care.
He's like,
by the way,
Tommy
Lee
He's
Jones.
Like, I don't care.
He's a better actor. Tommy Lee Jones is a great actor.
So it sounds to me like Harrison Ford's career was not so much Harrison Ford, but his co-stars.
It was his accompanying
Who he
actors.
worked
Okay.
Yeah.
He didn't do anything before Star Wars or Blade Runner. I mean, don't get me wrong. The guy has 5 Indiana Jones movies, 4 Star Wars. He's got Fugitive, so it's not like his career was shit. But you know, he's a triple A actor, and the only thing that he's known for, the last thing he was known for, as far as like greatness, was pre-1995. Is my point. Like, I don't, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think that, and he's been acting the whole time. It's not like he retired in 2000. So all of the other movies he was in are kind of just like, yeah, whatever. I'll go see it because it's Harrison Ford. So I don't know. I don't. For him, I don't understand it. I don't like Robert De Niro as a person, but I understand his career. It's prolific. He starts and he's in something popular every fucking couple of years until the past about decade.
I still have not finished watching the new Indiana Jones movie. I keep trying, and I cannot make it through it.
I have not even attempted to watch that shit show.
Nah, dude.
Yeah, I keep trying though. I mean, I want to finish it because I watched the fucking Crystal Skull and that was a piece of shit.
I watched one scene online, and it is the scene where she is literally bitching at him about misogyny or some shit, and he's like, "I fought the Nazis," and she's like, "Yeah, fuck you." Like, really? That's not what... I'm sorry, but guess what? It wasn't little girls watching Indiana Jones trying to find rocks to run from as kids. So when you have shit like that and you're telling this adult male, who's at this point fathers and grandfathers, some of them, like, hey, yeah, fuck you. We don't care that you fought Nazis, you old piece of shit. Your misogyny's the real problem. Stupid shit like that for me ruins movies. Because it's dumb. It's got no place. It doesn't. It ignores the history of the entire fucking franchise to boil it down to you're just an old man. Like, I don't want that as a mechanic in a movie. I don't need Indiana Jones being told, hey, you're not, you know, once again, the movie's set in the 80s or something anyways, or 70s or some shit anyways, the newest one. So it's not even like they're trying to interject 2024 bullshit into a movie set in the 80s. Fuck off. In the 80s, everybody was calling everybody retarded. In the 80s, everybody was saying the other F word to everybody. It was common vernacular. Don't tell me it was PC political correct in the 80s.
You're talking about cigarettes?
Yes, British cigarettes. So I'm
That's
tired
a throwback
of that
to somebody.
All right.
That meant.
Yes. You British cigarette. Judge Dredd, I love the movie. It is a goofy movie. Rob Schneider, I enjoy in it. It is a colorful type movie, and it's essentially Dredd is a judge. He is the judge. He goes through mega cities, and in the future, everything's so lawless that instead of having a judicial process like we do now, we have judges. And
you're judged on the spot.
Yeah, they arrive on the scene, they assess the crime, and they judge you there. More often than not, the judgment's death. But you do have scenes like when the guy parks there, and he's illegally parked for the 3rd time, and they don't tow your vehicle. They fucking blow it up.
Blow it up.
Which much more effective. Only movie I know he got credit for being a good actor was Amish movie and The Fugitive.
Oh, The Witness. What was it called? Something Witness.
The Witness.
Was it The Witness?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, that's the thing, is I don't understand why he's such a prolific actor. To me, sure, Blade Runner, Star Wars, he got lucky and got 3 franchises that rocketed him to stardom. But then that follows with 2.5 decades of what?
You know what? As a kid, I kind of liked him and Sabrina with what's his name, Greg Kinnear and fucking what's her name?
What show were you talking
It was
about?
it was a remake of an old movie, Sabrina, and the two brothers fall in love with the same woman,
Oh,
and
no idea.
he was the main guy, the older guy that.
Yeah, I can ask. I've never seen that. I know for a while he was trying to do the romantic
It's a romantic
comedies.
comedy. Yeah, it was a
Yeah,
romantic
it
comedy.
was
yeah.
essentially like, yeah, I'm older, but I'm still in good shape.
I
and
think
I've got
another one
charisma.
is Working Girl with fucking what's her name, Melanie Griffin,
I don't
and
understand why
it's
people like her either.
Sigourney Weaver.
I don't know. Well, Sigourney Weaver's alright. Just stick.
They
with
were the
her.
ones. They were the ones that kept playing all the time for free. So like you would see them all the time.
I mean, I'm still pissed off. Jamie Lee Curtis's old ass is in Borderlands. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, that cast.
She's
I
eating
don't-
Why
at
is
I don't know what they were
Kate
doing.
Blanchett has never done an action movie, and she's in her 50s. She's perfect for the Firehawk. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, no.
You
Who would
kidding
you have
me?
cast for her then?
If you want to even go older, Charlize Theron. I would have gone
Okay.
Charlize Theron. I would have gone. Or we gotta. I mean, it's redhead, but you could dye people's hair, frankly. But Scarlett Johansson. She's
Okay.
at least been as a fucking superhero in Marvel movies. She's
Yeah,
done
she at least
action.
has action.
There's a
Has
presence
action
there.
under her belt.
You know, Kate Blanchett does dramas. And she's old. I'm sorry. I'm not that, not like old in the regard of like, hey, you're old for a person. No, you're old for a female action hero. Jamie Lee
that
Curtis
character-
is spoiled milk fucking compared to Kate Blanchett.
Spoiled
That character should
Activia.
have been young though.
Well, it depends because it seems like they're blending all of the games into one movie, which is a mistake. But
Uh-huh.
yeah, in the first game, it's like 10 years prior. By the time you get to Borderlands 3, that's like 15 or 20 years later. So it makes sense for
Okay.
it makes sense for Firehawk to be a little bit older if they're just using like bullshitting and combining all three. But Kate Blanchett does not make sense as a casting in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah,
Jamie Lee Curtis does not make sense as a casting in any way, shape, or form. You could have had Firehawk. You could have had Samara Weaving. You could, she's a little young, but would have been better than fucking Kate Blanchett, who, once again, the biggest part is not her age. It's the fact that she's not an action star. She's not a comedy star. She does not belong in this movie at all. Jamie Lee Curtis, my problem with her is she's too fucking old. The Doctor is not this fucking old. The Doctor is a fucking siren, which means they don't even age at the same rate.
Yeah.
Yep.
So she has no business being that old, some white-haired, yogurt-eating fucking old woman. I don't need it. I need somebody who makes sense for the fucking role. Kevin Hart doesn't make sense for his role. He's the
I don't
least
like Kevin Hart.
He's
so.
the least worst cast out of the cast, but does not make sense for the role. So yeah, no, the movie's going to be a fucking disaster.
Is
If
he
we're
going to
lucky,
have
the
like
action will
allergies
be
in this
okay.
one? Kevin
Yeah,
Hart.
like he fucking does. No, but he will have his little man complex.
Is he gonna have like a bag of infinite space and shit?
Well, what he's going to do is he's going to throw a Pokeball out, and the Rock is going to appear.
Ah,
and,
okay.
And revive his career once again. Yeah,
You mean his pal sphere? Not, you can't say Pokemon.
I can say whatever the fuck.
Pal
Nintendo, suck my balls. How about that one? Fuck you. Fuck Pokemon. Fuck your business practices. Fuck the Nintendo Switch. How about that? You wonder why they haven't sued Pal World? Because they've got no grounds.
I have a question for you guys though.
Did.
How do you feel about Dredd taking his mask off or his helmet off in Judge Dredd, but in Dredd he doesn't take it off? I don't even think once, does he?
Well, there's two different mechanisms there. In the original Judge Dredd, he takes it off under the guise of we're going to explore the character more. Because we got to remember when you see him without the helmet, it's the prison scene, and it's when he's in court, and then when he's becoming closer to the girl. So I understand it. For me, the whole thing not taking the helmet off isn't that big of a deal for Dredd. I understand why they had Carl Urban stay underneath it. In the Carl Urban movie, Dredd is much more of a presence than an individual.
So in
Judge
Judge Dredd, in Judge Dredd, the director said that Stallone said that he wanted to take his mask off because it's his face.
I guarantee.
So,
yeah. Well, it's the same thing.
He pulled a fucking he pulled a Mandalorian.
Yeah, it's Pedro Pascal and Mandalorian.
Yeah.
That's all it is. And I'm not that tied to the source material. I'm presuming he never did take his helmet off.
Yeah, Judge Dredd never took his helmet off.
But once again,
comics.
Judge Dredd, while popular with comic nerds, isn't the same league as a Batman, a Superman, a Marvel. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't as big. So I'm not as tied to it. I do understand the concept of not removing the helmet, as in these are supposed to be faceless executioners that rule the land. They're not supposed to have emotion. They're not supposed to have sympathy and empathy. They're supposed to go there, uphold the law that is written, and do what they need to do. And I appreciate that about Dredd, how it handles the character. It does try to humanize him, but not nearly in the same overblown way as the original.
Right.
But what I like about Dredd is that concept of the uniform, and to come back to Judge Dredd, where he's like, I am the law. In Dredd, that they landed that perfectly. Like the fact that he doesn't take off his mask, just the name, the uniform. Like, he does have that line though. He does.
But it's used differently, and I appreciate that. In the first one, isn't it used where he's screaming in the courtroom and he's like, I am the law?
Yeah. And he also does it with I'm Judge Dredd and I am the law. And he's talking to the people up and everywhere.
Yeah. And in Dredd, it's, he's literally talking to them through his hand mic, basically telling them, clear the room or I'm going to kill you all. And they go, fuck you and fuck the law. And he goes, I am the law. So definitely the Dredd in the reboot is, in my opinion, a much more sinister motherfucker.
Also, he didn't need to say it as much. And I think that's why Stallone had it put in where I have to have a tagline. Arnold has it in fucking Terminator. I want one in here.
Yeah.
And I think that's what happened.
And that's where the 90s really hurt the comic book movies, is because Stallone was in it. And if it was Schwarzenegger, you would have an I'll be back. Like that's the thing, is that's what really hurts it, is Stallone.
Should have used the elevator.
Yeah,
shit like that.
See you at the party, Victor. Like, that's the problem with Dredd, I think, or Judge Dredd, is it does have too much of the Stallone's a big star. Stallone has to have one-liners. This is a 90s action movie. This is what audiences want. And I think Dredd completely abandons that. And it is a story of essentially, I mean, I will say I do appreciate the little bit you see it in the Judge Dredd, how he uses his weapon. How it's just like signal flare, and then he fires. But then in Dredd, it's a different character almost, because Dredd is a calm sort of like rapid fire, and it's not about him loudly talk. It's a relationship between him and that weapon.
Yes,
he's not. Nobody else needs to hear this. He is talking to his gun because it is an extension of the damage he wants to do.
As long as the gun hears him, he doesn't care if anybody else can hear him.
Exactly. And Sean's right. 90 stars sold movies, not the story, which is unfortunate because the story in the original Judge Dredd isn't all that great. Neither, honestly, is the story as far as we're looking at the outline of the Dredd remake. It's Judge Dredd gets sent into Mega City, whatever, run by a drug kingpin, and he's going to clean it up. Judge Dredd's, at least the original Judge Dredd story, was a little bit more, he's a cop, he gets set up, he gets betrayed, he has to fight his way back to Mega City to clear his name. So there is a bit more story in the original than the new one.
It's kind of a weird twin story, though, isn't it?
Well, it's an origin, and it's not, because you go into how he was a synthetic child and a clone.
I know, but I'm talking. It's kind of like Arnold Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito, because one brother got the anger issues, and the other brother got the bad guy issues. You know what I mean? And they're both.
But I think the main difference is that he didn't get the runoff. It was all about he was treated differently. Dredd was treated as a golden child, and he was treated as a criminal from the start. Same sort of bioengineered.
But he still became a judge, though. He still became a judge.
Yeah, and he got tired of the system. So like, it's. I think there is more depth in the original story. Whether you meet the cannibal tribe, however. I mean, I like the character of Dredd in the remake a lot more. The action and violence is way better done. You have that whole scene where she clears out the entire floor with
Cersei Lannister.
The LMG, the Cersei Lannister. Then you've got him. He shoots his incendiary or napalm or whatever it was, and just ignites the entire fucking area. The dialogue is crisp and short to the point, but smart. Including the lines between him and his cadet, where she's like, the helmet interferes with me being able to read people, and he goes, a bullet might do that too. and he walks
Yep.
away. You know, like there's still that bravado
You're
and
a
that
beauty.
sort of like, yeah, that's sort of like, all right, rookie. I love her in the movie too. She really holds her own.
Yeah.
You know, that scene where he's trying to intimidate her, and he's in her mind, and he's having a sex with her, and then she turns it on him and he's in the corner pissing himself by the end of it. The characters are great. There are a lot of parallels to the Raid, which Dredd took a lot of shit for. And the thing about it is to be fair, Dredd did take a lot from the original the Raid graphic novel, which is essentially the same thing as the Raid movie, which is here's a building, it's run by gangsters, we're going to rip everybody out. But, I mean, in two entirely different movies. So I think
They are,
the comparisons were frustrating. The Dredd opens up with a fucking badass motorcycle chase, violent. I mean, it opens up.
I
with
liked
a
that
bang.
too. I like that too. That it wasn't all about space, spaceships flying around. Like
Yeah.
there were ships that flew, but it wasn't every fucking vehicle in there.
Well,
you know what I mean?
Well, the overabundance of violence, like the homeless man that gets trapped under the door when they lock it down.
That was fucked.
You know, like the Dredd, the remake really takes the concept of Dredd and gives it to you. The '90s movie really takes the concept of Dredd and gives you Stallone's version.
Yeah,
and I think that's the fundamental flaw with the original.
I also like in Judge Dredd how like his character is like he takes that I am the law to like this is what I know, this is who I am, like he personifies it. But in Dredd, like he understands the world is a dark place and he's beaten down by it, but he doesn't let it conquer him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and another good version of that they show on Dredd is that he's still human when the two kids are at gunpoint, and he does it like I feel like Judge Dredd.
He stuns
Dredd
them rather than
wouldn't have stunned them.
Yeah,
I think that Dredd honestly would have killed them. To be honest with you, yeah, I think that's honestly what would have happened.
Yeah,
and
that would have been
the kids.
That would have been the thing. Is you'd have Stallone's Judge Dredd running in, and he would run past Carl Urban's, and Urban just and then go about his day. Like that, and then clean it up. He'd report in 187 at Mega City Ford 19. That would have been it.
We will be open in 15 minutes after we clean up all the blood.
Yeah,
that was.
Yeah, the food court will be.
The main floor will be open in 30 minutes. I was like, what?
So Jen has fallen asleep, but she'll be happy to know she's a moderator now. Glad she puts that business out there while we're live. What a perfect time to bring this up. It's the beginning of the fucking show. Perfect timing.
On that note, don't forget
to
join the Discord.
There you go. Join the Discord. I've been trying to post a lot more in the Discord, including previews of certain things like this. Are you guys ready to score these two?
I am.
One more thing that I want to say.
Okay.
Stallone was a piece of shit to the director, where he wanted to change everything, and he actually was the one that forced the ending of this movie to be changed. So this movie should have had it. He never got to shoot it. Stallone fucking was fighting it. I wish they would have shot it, so that way there was evidence of what happened and what changed.
I think there need to be like. I don't know who the director was. I'd have to look into it. I don't know who the writers were.
His name is Danny Cannon. He was what did he do? He didn't do a lot of good shit, but
here's the thing though. To be fair to Stallone, he took Rocky, which is a script he wrote, refused to let a studio make it if he wasn't involved, and turned it into what it was. Stallone has also wrote a lot of his own shit. So Stallone, whether people want to admit it because he talks like this, is a writer. That's how he started. That's how he got into the business, was shopping Rocky around. So, I don't know, like, yeah, his ego is probably a big part of it, but who am I to say that the original script wasn't shit, and whatever we got out of it was Stallone's input maybe making a good difference? I don't know what the original plans were.
He was the director of I Still Know What You Did Last Summer.
Not a good movie.
And he did a bunch of other TV shows as far as CSI.
Like, here's the thing. I don't know the whole story, but like there is two sides. And
Yeah.
if Stallone, as an actor, writer, AAA actor at that point, somebody who Would Judge Dredd have had any eyes on it for not Stallone, even though it bombed initially anyways? So I think if you do have Stallone going, hey, this is stupid, we should change this, at the minimum, you should listen to the guy because he's A, more experienced than you are. B, he's a writer. I don't know if the director actually wrote on this or if it was just other writers. So it's like, I don't know, like his input could have been stupid, could have ruined things. Or, the movie we have now could have been far worse without changes he made.
That's true. Yeah.
We don't know. And, unless we have the full story, we never will.
He was quoted as saying, I will never work with another self-absorbed actor as Sly Stone.
And that's why he did TV shows the rest of his career.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I hate to tell you this. You went into the industry where everybody's self-absorbed. Politics and acting and music, everybody's self-absorbed. So if you can't handle that, you don't belong in the industry now, do you? You don't want to deal with prima donnas? Then don't make a movie that Stallone's in. That's you. You could have said no. You could have turned down the handfuls of money they paid you. You chose not to. Deal with it. That's your fucking job. You want to be a ditch digger instead of dealing with prima donnas? Go fucking do that. Unless you want that, shut the fuck up. Make the movie and then go make commercials and TV because you couldn't cut it with a... Yeah, Stallone's probably an asshole, sure. Doesn't matter. It was your biggest shot and you fucked it up. The movie tanked. Whatever the cause. All right. Any more before we give both of these movies a score?
The last thing was he did do. He's a very big comic book fan because he did 11 episodes of Gotham and he did a few episodes of Pennyworth, which is a spinoff of
but if I
Alfred.
understand correctly, Gotham is not a comic accurate lore show.
But it was a spinoff of the before Batman scenes and all that stuff.
No, I understand that, but being a comic fan and being true to the source material means nothing when it's taking characters from source material and doing their own thing with them. Just like I'm reading, we're going to review Fallout. I have concerns. I'm reading quotes from the fucking
the director.
The director talking about, we never went in trying to please fans. Okay, and if you don't please me as a fan, I'm going to rip your show the fuck apart Friday the 19th.
I'm scared they're going to Halo it.
Dude, by the way, Polygon released an article. And I don't like Polygon, but they're right. And it said, Halo TV show. I don't watch it, but I keep up on it because it's a shit show. Halo TV show has made the humans the bad guys, and it completely misses the point of Halo. Yeah. Apparently, in the story, do you watch it?
I have not yet.
I watched season 1.
So apparently, in the storyline for season 2, they have flat out made the humans the evil ones against the arbiters and shit.
Yeah, that's what I heard too.
So Polygon wrote an article basically being like, and their title I think was Paramount's Halo is not Halo. And Fallout looks great, but my concern when you have assholes just like the asshole who makes The Last of Us and that TV show, anytime I have an asshole coming out telling me as a fan, we didn't make this show for you, my defenses are already up. I'm already going to watch this show. I'm going to try to be unbiased and open-minded. But you better goddamn believe if I see something that isn't kosher, I'm going to rip you up on it. Because you personally, you told your fans, fuck you, this isn't made for you. We're making a mass appeal show. So if it doesn't live up to the hype, Friday the 19th is going to get ripped the fuck apart.
That's like FUBU Athletics or whatever, FUBU Clothing.
For you by us? By who?
Fuck you by us. It was fuck you by us.
Not people of my persuasion. Because it wasn't for me.
It wasn't for me either.
Let's be real. For you? No, you mean my black friend next to me, because it ain't for fucking me.
They still wanted them to buy it, but it was a fuck you by us.
For you by us, made in the same sweatshops as every other fucking tennis shoe. For you by us, children with nimble fingers made your shoes. Fucking pieces of shit. Anyway, you guys ready to do this?
Yeah, why not?
Alex posted it. Join the Discord so you can get early access and see videos early like this. That's right. I want to thank Sammy Hagar for singing that little ditty for us.
Yeah.
Tell me that's not a song where if you're at like a bar and you're a little drunk, or if you're at a baseball stadium and that comes on, I guarantee you within 40 seconds, you hear people going, Chicago Dog Reviews. Like, it's so catchy. Thank you, AI.
At least somebody in the fucking corner of the fucking bar is going to be saying the chorus.
My favorite lyric is "Slap me in the face with your Chicago." I just find I wrote the lyric and it makes me fucking laugh. I'm ridiculous. I get it. That's a new video for now. I have ADD. It's not going to stay that way forever. We'll probably do it every couple months unless I get froggy, and then I'll switch it. Frankly, as much as I fucking want.
I love the teeth of the fucking hot dogs.
Yeah, I know.
I love stock assets. All I do is type in hot dog, and then I'm just fucking giving hot dogs. It's real hot dogs. It's dancing hot dogs. No hot dogs doing this, which I'm looking for. But
did you ask for it?
No, I didn't type it. Well, that's the other thing. Is when you make AI tracks, they have terms of service, and I don't think you can really swear in them. Otherwise, I would. But
okay.
I think part of the problem is you can't. If you do, they'll basically be like, against terms of service, you're banned, and I don't want to deal with that. So I'm trying to. Can you
imagine like you put your voice for that shit, and they fucking now they own your voice, and they can make all these different things.
Well, okay, so
do you get any royalties for that?
No. Well, here's the thing: you can't copyright it.
No. I'm talking about the people that are giving their voice, because that's got to be somebody's voice that's recorded.
And it's sampling. I mean, that's the thing is you got to remember those lyrics have never been sung, so it's emulating a voice that it's pooling from samples. That's why it sounds like fucking Sammy Hagar. And the thing about that is because it's pooling from every source it can think of to make it, you can't copyright it. I actually saw somebody on a Discord the other day post some shit about, just because it's AI art doesn't mean somebody didn't make a prompt, and doesn't mean it doesn't take skill to do. And I use AI. It does take some skill to do, but the fact of the matter is, if you wanted to have content of your own that you can copyright, you don't use AI. You're not an AI artist. You're somebody that knows how to type words, and the AI does everything for you. You are not an artist, and you do not get to copyright your things. I don't care how hard you think about the words you're going to type in as a prompt. It's not yours. You didn't create it. If you want something you can copyright, create your own name. Create your own music like I do, other than the AI tracks. But if you're going to go on a video editor and go, hey, make me an AI intro to Nerd of Two Movie Podcast, that's something I would never do. Yeah. AI doesn't give you a flavor. It's generic. And I love the fun with the songs and everything. It's just, it's you can't copyright it. And because of that, you're on your own. If you don't want... if you want to make an AI prompt and, that's my... No, it's not. Because you stole it from somebody else it sampled from. It is what it is.
Sean says, it's amazing. I want to be slapped in the face. And he said, Matt ends up the voice of China T-1000.
Why do I got to be Liquid Metal? Can I be T-800? See, Sean, you're trying to get me canceled. You're trying to get me to do Asian voice and...
China is asshole.
Come with me or you want to live. I take good care of you. I'm gonna get in trouble. I gotta stop. Come lay down. I give you sucky. I gotta stop.
You want mint for pillow?
Yeah, you want to pillow me? The T-800 loves to be pillowed.
No, I said, do you want mint for pillow?
Oh, I thought you were talking about being
Tommy Boy, or whatever it was.
To jerk you off? What the hell kind of room service or maid is this? Giovanni. First the old school, then the new school. Give me your stars, baby. Or your hot dogs.
Like Matt, I like them both. They're both good for both different reasons. I'm so used to growing up and watching the slapstick comic book comedies, so it works. And I understand Sylvester Stallone probably, had his take on it, but it works. Like the comedy works in this one. The visuals are actually not that bad. The story's convoluted. Yes, it is. But
yeah, because it's literally like we're not going to do an origin story. He's already Dredd, but then halfway through the movie, we're going to talk about his origin. But it's also coinciding with the same storyline of he's been framed, and it's very all over the place.
It was.
Yeah, it is. It is, and in And in the new one, it's more realistic. Like, you know what I mean? His behavior, his mannerisms, the way he
Well,
carries
he
himself.
actually acts like Stallone's Judge Dredd is like the type of character where it's like I'm hard, and then Carl
Yeah,
Urban's Dredd is the type of character where he walks into the room and says nothing. You know,
yeah,
Stallone's Judge Dredd is I could bench press you out of here. Carl Urban's Dredd is I didn't say a line to him, I just shot him.
yeah. Carl Urban's Judge Dredd understands his presence. He
Yeah.
understands the power that presence brings. He understands what the uniform means, why the law is the way it is, why the world is the way it is.
And he knows that
yeah,
he's not wearing spandex. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's not wearing spandex.
That's a fair
true.
point.
Yeah.
So I would give Judge Dredd an 8 out of 10
Okay.
for what it is. I think the story is the part that holds it back the worst, because the costume design,
The
the
acting's
characters
not
are
even
really
bad.
good.
I mean,
No, the
really,
acting's not bad.
No, all the
Acting's not
actors
bad.
were fucking pretty good.
except for one line, and it's his brother at the end.
Rico,
Where
yeah.
Rico, where his voice cracks and he goes, you know, you and my family, I'm the only family I ever had. That scene
was
ever since I was a kid when he goes, I'm the only family I ever had. I laugh every time. I'm sorry, I just do.
that one. Yeah, that's the only, and it's out of place for his character. I feel like.
Yeah, because he's and like here's the thing. Up until he makes that like guttural like whine, the speech is okay because he's like, we were family, you were my family. And then he's like, "You're the only family I had."
They played to his voice and his speech because he's a what is he, Italian? Is he Spanish? I could never I don't know.
I don't remember. He's not an A-list actor either.
He
he
always had an accent. He always has a
What is his name? Is it Armand Asante? Is that his
Armand
name?
Asante?
Yeah, I mean that might be. It's either
Or
Spanish or
Asante
Italian.
or whatever.
Yeah, whatever it is. Yeah, he does control. Like, and that's the thing is the acting's good. The what's her face, Diane Keaton, I believe, is who is the girl or the woman in the movie. She does well. Schneider does well. Herschel from Walking Dead and his son, go let me in him. Oh, I love that part.
Or Diane Lane. Diane
Lane. Sorry, Diane Lane.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. And I can't tolerate her much in many movies, but I like her in this movie.
Here's the thing.
Well, she does more romantic comedy type shit though. That's
why it's the same. Like if you put Diane Lane in Borderlands, I'd be pissed too, even though she was in Dredd. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's no different for me than them casting Diane Lane in the fucking movie for Kate Blanchett. Like you don't belong. You just don't. I'm not trying to be ageist, even though Jamie Lee Curtis is too fucking old. She spoiled yogurt, but you don't belong in these films. Jamie Lee Curtis doesn't belong in these films. They're in Borderlands. She has no point there. And then you see like she's gonna do a Freaky Friday Part 2. So that's all I want to watch. I want to watch haggard Lindsay Lohan and old as fucking all shit Jamie Lee Curtis acting as a teenager again. That's what I want to fucking see.
No, oh my god.
So 8 out of 10 for the original. What'd you give the new one?
The new one, I like it more, and it's not because it's a newer movie. It's because it's grittier. It's more like I feel that
it's more of the character
the planet has actually gone to shit. You can see it, man. It makes sense that these mega cities are run by gangbangers. Well, it makes sense.
Well, Alex's point of the flying vehicles is perfect because the concept of like in the original one, it's like the cities just look like Blade Runner.
Yeah,
you got flying cars and shit. And in the remake, he's driving on a highway through slums. Everywhere is a fucking slum.
Everywhere,
and then you have the mega cities.
Also, they say that in Dredd, Judge Dredd, I think they were talking about like 300 or 400 million, and in Dredd, it's like 800 million people. And in those complexes, there's like more people that are in there
than in an actual city.
Than in the city, yeah.
Well, which makes sense of their condition. It makes sense why they are the way they are.
Well, also, I mean, let's be frank. The original movie storyline of Dredd is being framed for murder. What do we do to people that murder people? We execute them. Why is Dredd being outcasted? Oh wait, no, that's right. The whole device was because the old man put his neck on the line.
He gave up his seat to be a wanderer, and he said, free Dredd,
Yeah.
or not free Dredd, but
my point with Amon
Sho-
Asante is his whole thing of like, you and my family is a little bit in this part for like in the Patriots always a little cringe to me when he's like, I am not a child. He's like, you are my child. It's the same sort of like, you guys don't know how to cry on camera, do you? Like you don't know how to portray emotion, do you? It's that same sort of like, we get it. You're good, but you're not that good. You're Ben Stiller in Tropic Thunder. Action Jackson can't cry. That sort of shit. I'm sorry, you said 9 out of 10 for the new one.
No, the new one. I'm actually gonna give it a 9.5. I liked it a lot more, and it's because it brought the grittiness of the world to forward. Like you feel it, you can see it. You see it in the way he acts, going out into the world, the way he talks to his partner, the way he's trying to get her to realize this is the reality. This is what you have to fucking do. Like and they don't make light of it. They don't make light of it at all. Like, and I love that.
No, he's a no nonsense, basically like you're probably gonna die today. Sort of like that's it.
Mm-hmm.
It's Judge Dredd training day.
Yeah. Or RoboCop training day a little bit.
Oh yeah, it does. You know what? Judge Dredd the reboot does mirror RoboCop way more than the original does, even though it has the same sort of male-female dynamic.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna give the original a 7.5. I love it. It's got some issues. I would love to know the original plans. I wish there was like an unedited, like Snyder cut version out there somewhere I could watch. The new one I'm gonna give a 9. Honestly, the only thing I wish the new one would have done better, and it makes me that much sadder there's no sequel, is while there is segments of really great action, it's not very fast-paced. Like, I would have loved to have a much more The Raid sort of pace, where it's literally them going floor to floor, just getting into gunfights. And instead, it has that, but it's also much more, you have Cersei Lannister's...
It is contained between, like, a certain amount of floors.
Yeah, like, I wanted to see...
It doesn't go any higher or lower.
Yeah, I don't need Kung Fu. I want Dredd going through hallways, ripping people up, talking to his gun. Like, they do that a little. I wanted more, and I think it's because they did such a good job of it, the stuff you get out of it, where I think everybody who likes the reboot wants more. And it's a very good thing. Unfortunately, nobody went and saw the fucking movie. And we will probably, despite Carl Urban being the most popular he's ever been, we will probably still never get a sequel.
And it sucks because he wants to do another one. He wants to do another one.
I mean, you gotta give the guy credit.
He should push for cult classic shit, man. Like, just keep pushing it.
Hey, fuck, he's Johnny Cage in the Mortal Kombat 2. So, like, he's legitimately the hottest he's ever been between The Boys and all this shit they're throwing at him. Don't be surprised if his ass ends up in Marvel somewhere.
I loved him in the new Star Trek, though.
As Bones? Yeah,
he was good as Bones.
Which is great because he had a not so good run when he was first starting. Remember that movie Pathfinder?
Which was like
his
one?
First, it was his first big Hollywood movie that he was the main star, and it was just a shitty quasi Viking action movie. It was not Viking fantasy. It was not. It was almost like the modern day equivalency of Cole the Conqueror.
Okay.
Wasn't good. So I'm glad.
I remember the name. I don't remember the movie.
I'm glad he's doing much because he had some when he was first really getting pushed and starring and stuff. I also felt like Carl Urban would have been a better guy in the movie like Swordfish than Hugh Jackman. Like I feel like he should have been. There was some roles that I think he would have been way better for. But also when Pathfinder came out, he was trying to do the whole I'm buff, I'm shirtless, and I've got abs and muscles in this movie. And I think he realized that's not me. Like even on The Boys, Anthony Starr. There's the story where the guy from Supernatural who plays Soldier Boy, he's like, they told me to get jacked and I'm working on
Jackson or Eccles, yeah.
Yeah, getting as much muscle on me as possible. And I show up to the first day of set and Anthony Starr looks at me and goes, "The fuck are you doing? Just have him put muscles in the suit," and walks away. And it's like, I mean... He's got a fucking point.
He's not wrong. Yeah,
he's in shape, though. Come on, he's in shape now.
He's in great shape, but the idea of it is funny who Homelander, who's like Superman, doesn't work out at all, and the new guy comes in and he's legitimately ripped, and he's like, fucking idiot, haven't put muscles in the suit. You know, it's just funny to me.
On that, I actually another movie I forgot to say that I watched. I started watching half of Aquaman, the new one,
How is it?
and looking at him walking around, he's walking around in a shirt like me. He's got a belly like me.
Who?
What's his name? Momoa.
Homelander? Oh,
Momoa.
Jason Momoa.
And he looks like he's got a fucking beer belly on him, like walking around the set
Probably
with a big
does.
shirt.
I mean, let's be real. He's in much better shape than any of us, though. Let's stop acting like he's not. Come on.
Yes, but in the movie,
don't get me wrong. Ooh, ow.
I think he just made Sean wet himself over there.
Good. Cream your jeans. The new name
but
of the show.
But yeah, it was weird seeing him like in a shirt that made his like look like he had a beer belly going. And I was like, I thought he got ripped for movies like this.
Well, see, you notice there was all that behind the scenes footage of his workouts for the first one. Has anyone seen any of that for the second one?
No.
Like, I think he was in between, and he's just like, "You're putting me in a fucking bodysuit half the movie,
and you're making me work with Amber Turd over here."
Yeah, right. I got the bed shitter. I'm not doing this.
If she could shit on beds, I'm not going to do any exercise.
Yeah, I'm going to go drink a Guinness in my trailer. On land fat in water drink. See, I gotta watch. I really liked the first Aquaman movie. I did. Also, I don't know if you guys.
There is some good chemistry between him and what's his name, his brother.
Oh yeah.
In the second one, there is some good chemistry between the two of them.
Patrick Wilson.
Yes.
Also, there is gonna be. Oh, I'm sorry, Alex. What is your scores? I don't want to fuck this up.
So for Judge Dredd, I'm gonna go with 7.5. I liked how everything was going with the movie, but it just looked like there was so much that was influenced by Stallone wanting to. Having watched Terminator and all that stuff, you can see that he was pushing for certain things.
Well,
so you saw that he wanted lines. He wanted this.
I have a persona to keep. You know, the audience liked this in the movie because they like me. They don't care about the character. They're here to see me.
Which is okay, but he did kind of kill the whole character of how it should be, you know, like how he should have been as a comic book character.
Well, he wasn't He wasn't like, and that's the thing. Carl Urban's Judge Dredd is calm, calculated, and lethal, and Stallone's Judge Dredd seems to be purely driven on emotion somehow, and that's not how it should be.
And yeah, they're supposed to be emotionless. He's supposed to be emotionless.
Yeah.
Did Guinness sponsor Aquaman 2? I don't think anybody sponsored Aquaman 2. I think everybody was like, "Nah, we're good. It's cool. Go we don't want the fish movie, not the sequel. We saw Wonder Woman 2. We're good."
But so with that one, I'm gonna go with 7.5. With Dredd, I'm gonna give that a 9.5 because I really like that one a lot more than I did.
And you know, dude, it's one of those movies where you gotta kind of, even if you're listening to headphones, turn on the spatial audio, crank that fucking shit up because it is a great soundtrack too.
I just like how you could make a comic book movie and still be serious and still make a comic book movie where it doesn't have to be.
Well, see, much like Shogun, the comedy that's in it is very smartly done.
Yeah.
It's kind of like little one-liners that aren't goofy, much like I said, a bullet will stop that too. It's those little sort of,
And also it's not being repeated every time, so it's not knocking a fucking dead horse. It's not doing it over and over and over, which that's what happened in Judge Dredd. He kept saying it. I knew you were going to say that. Or, I am the law.
Yeah. But not only do you have, I think
he's wearing spandex saying that fucking I am the law shit.
In Judge Dredd, you even have not only do you have Stallone saying it, but you have Rob Schneider himself making fun of Stallone saying the line too.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's like this movie is self-aware on how cheesy it is, but it still does it, and that's a problem, or it can be a problem.
I did love Rob Schneider inside the fucking noodle machine, though.
Yeah, the noodle machine is nobody in here. Keep moving.
So yes, what is it? 7.5 and a 9.0?
Yeah, or no, 9.5. You said for
9.5. Yeah.
James Reamer is in Judge Dredd in the very beginning. He gets killed by Dredd. He's one of the first victims.
Yep.
Also, there is news about, if you guys watch Peacekeeper at all, there will be a season 2. It's going to be canon after this new Superman movie. Season 1 is not canon. So they're basically rebooting Peacekeeper to coincide with the new DC universe.
Okay. So they're going to keep John Cena?
That's cool that they're keeping the seasons. Like, That's cool that the way they're doing it. That's smart.
Yeah, I mean, so yeah, season 2 apparently is not going to be set until after the new Superman movie, which I saw the suit and the images. I think it looks fucking gay. It's far too Christopher Reeve. I don't like that style. I don't like the bright red underwear look. I liked Zack Snyder's styling for it. I wish Cavill was still Superman. I am not enthused by James Gunn's DC universe so far. I'm really not.
And when Zack Snyder put him in the black suit, I was like, "Fuck yeah, that's it."
Right?
That was
And
it.
you
Right
know,
there.
and then of course you hire Joss Whedon to come in and butcher Justice League, only for the fans to go, "Nah, fuck that guy, fuck this movie." Then through pressure, they released Snyder's version. It's far better, and then they're going, "We shouldn't have released it."
Which was stupid.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie, that was stupid.
You shouldn't have released the fucking original one. So Aquaman fucking fish is not. No, Aquaman very much does fuck fish. Just those lines technically weren't. Well, I mean, here's the thing.
I thought that was The Boys where he fucks the fish.
Well, no, but there's at the end of isn't it in Peacekeeper? He talks to Aquaman, or he refers Aquaman to as like the fish fucker. And then there's like an after credit scene with Aquaman and another character, or Barry, talking about it. Peacekeeper was a great show. I look forward to it. I don't really have much credit in James Gunn's DC universe. I think he falls into the same problems of like, I got to have Nathan Fillion in this show. You know what I mean? Or Nathan Fillion's got to be here. My brother's got to be here. And I'm just tired of it.
Speaking of which, they have that other guy too, the one that plays in the Rock show, where he plays the interview guy. The Asian
Ballers
dude.
is the show. I don't know who you're talking about though.
The Asian dude, I can't remember his name, but he was in the Marvel universe, and now he's also in DC. He's also in DC universe.
No, Shang-Chi 2 is going to be in film soon, so I doubt it's him.
No. He was the guy. He's like a nobody. He's not a superhero or anything. He was just like a human guy that was in part of all the shows. He's in that Fresh Off the Boat TV show.
Oh, him, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
He also played Jim in the prank on The Office when they pranked Dwight to the point.
Yeah.
They actually, if you want to look it up later, John Krasinski has a kids movie coming out called Imaginary, and it's all about basically this kid is seeing everybody's imaginary friend.
Nice.
They did a skit for it because John Krasinski's directing it and Ryan Reynolds is in it. And so it's a behind the scenes, and it's the Asian guy. And he's like, "I'm John Krasinski. This is Ryan Reynolds. We're going to be talking."
Okay, that's where that came from.
Yeah,
okay.
Randall Park is his name.
Okay.
And so, as kind of a nod, they redid the it was quite funny. Randall Park, American. Yeah, Randall Park. Yeah, thank you, Sean. I like him quite a bit. I think this, like, Carl Urban was already in Marvel. He was in Thor.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, he's not, if anything, he'll be in DC, I think, after The Boys. Like, I don't think you'll see him in another Marvel production. I don't think he wants to deal with the Marvel machine, considering he did the polar opposite, which is The Boys, and it's probably the most successful thing he's ever done.
Sweet.
So, yeah. All right, everybody. As you guys can hear, my voice is fucked today. I apologize for it. I'm trying. It's hurting for me to talk at any sort of volume. So,
I blame your Thursday.
I blame my entire fucking week. To be honest with you. With that said, thank you guys. Once again, if you want to join the Discord, Alex posted the link, also known as Kim. That movie was terrible, though. The Interview. I hated that movie.
Oh, yeah.
I did not find it funny at fucking all. I don't find Seth Rogen funny anymore either, so that's just what it is. Thank you, Alex. Join the Discord so you can see videos like this early. I share a lot of shit lately. With that said, thank you guys so much for watching. We truly appreciate it. Sean, Jen, everybody who is watching that hasn't chatted. We love you guys. Appreciate it. We'll see you next week with another episode. We don't know what movies we're reviewing, but we'll be sure to be checking out Shogun episode 5. So we'll see you guys next week. We'll be posting shit in the Discord to let you know what we're doing. Love you guys. Thank you so much. Have a great fucking weekend. Bye.
Oh.